Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another broadcast of Tricogha Nights, hosted here on the Component Cast channel. Yay! Before we get going tonight properly, we do have a small, normal array of things to cover. Those of you who have seen the show before will know that we do these little bit of intro stuff. And the first thing we want to talk about tonight is the wonderful people over at Syrinscape that allow us to send music to each other and create atmospheres for our gaming tables. Syrinscape offer this really good way of doing so, because you can go to either Syrinscape.com or get the app on your mobile devices, and downloading the said app or getting the free version on Syrinscape.com allows you to have 23 free sound sets for you to play with and start altering to start making the moods for your table. And they have this online player that allows us to send these sounds over the internet, which is pretty cool. So yes, to get started, go on over to Syrinscape.com or head to the links and panels in our description or in the about section of Twitch for more information. Roach, you're the GM for this show. What are we playing?
I got the copy back. I got the copy up.
Damn, that was transitional. That was. I was completely blown away by that.
Yeah. No, it's good. You know, the weird part is I haven't made a separate document for the copy. The copy is just hidden in my initial game intro from the first session. So I have to keep reopening that note to get the copy. Because that's how lazy
incredibly efficient here. You know?
Urban Jungle is what we're playing in this game, or in this campaign. It is made by Sanguine Productions, who brought us the RPGs Iron Claw, Bleeding Edge, and the Cardinal game system. Currently, you can get Urban Jungle on their Drive-Thru RPG page, where it is still, as of now, about a quarter off if you get like the physical print copy and the PDF. It's usually $100. It's $25 now, and it's also on a discount for PDF and just the regular print on demand. There we go.
You got that
version. Yeah. No, it's okay. There we go. That's awesome.
It. Before we also move on to anything else, Mikey, who's our artist for this show?
Our artist is the delightfully talented, very, very, very helpful, and very responsive, which is very important when you're looking for an artist. 7. They are NINEKI 99 on Twitter, and you can feel free to check them out. They did all of the artwork that you see in all of Midge's very highly well-produced slides and stuff you see on the stream.
And before we continue, there's one final thing I just say is a continued thank you to all our subscribers and our supporters of the show. Without you, we wouldn't be able to make these shows possible, so thank you again, and thank you for helping an infant component cast. We also hope to have some more emotes to the higher tier subs very soon. And as I say this, there are more subs coming in for a hype train. That's just wonderful. Thank you so much. And a big round of applause to all of you, the viewers, for really helping us out. But without further ado, we get on with tonight's broadcast. I think we shall.
Tricogha. It's a city of dreams, they say. They might have even been right once upon a time. But now, it's a rotting, corrupt corpse on a hill. When the nation went dry, a few saw the potential, saw the money that was waiting for them. Now, you can't go a block without passing a speakeasy, even if you can't see it. And you'd be surprised just how many upstanding citizens you'll find at a table with a glass in their hands. These can't help but want money or power. Problem is when both of those mix away from the light of the law. Corruption, exploitation, and murder. It's all just another night in Tricogha.
Off
It's in
screen here.
Leicestershire. I don't care what anyone says.
So just a
There-
little thing. We had an off conversation there. At
Apparently, an airport that's labeled as being in Nottingham is not in Nottingham, but from what I know, that's not an oddity in the UK because there's multiple London
It's
airports that are
one.
not in London.
that are nowhere near
There's-
London.
There's one airport that is branded a London airport that is actually within the municipality of London. That is London City Airport. And you know what? It's not even on land.
No, it's in the River Thames.
It's in the river.
Yeah, it's built on like a fake island in the River Thames.
Yeah, no,
It's not
yeah.
even on a fake island. It's floating.
it's
Oh.
true. Yeah, it's a
floating runway.
It's an old dock, right? Dry dock or something like that. It was something to deal with ships. Either way, let's get away from the just horrible management of large British cities. And let's go to I guess arguably the same, but for American cities, the 1920s. So, I'm gonna assume nobody remembers what was going on during
I
the
do.
last session.
It was quite complicated.
Who are you?
What are we doing here again?
Like,
Yeah, I'm your GM.
Which was the bad guy gang, and which was the bad guy gang that we can work with to attack the other bad boy gang?
How many
Yeah,
people did
there's
I
a-
kill last time?
None yet.
Like Rivalon.
No, that's no. Did you get hit in the head? Or do you have a concussion?
2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Where's
2 weeks.
Salah? Send the Salah.
She promised me a date.
Yeah. So yeah.
I remember.
Yes. Oh, you do? Then go ahead and tell us. I was about to do that, but I'll give you that responsibility.
Okay, so the Alderman went for dinner with Mr. Barron, who is our raccoon mob boss. And Mr. Barron is very concerned that there is a lot of cheap liquor coming into Tricogha, and it's ruining everyone's trade, and the whole place is becoming extremely violent because of it, because nobody knows what's going on. So he asked Alderman Andrews to go and do some investigation as to what's going on and to try and figure out who the suspects are. We sort of know the 5 or 6 gangs of Tricogha, and we've sort of been narrowing down by espionage and asking around and just casually following people, and 5 gangs. And we think we've narrowed it down to 2, but at the end of the last run, Roman noticed he was being followed by a couple of Donaldsons, and that's kind of where we called it.
Yeah, no, basically, yes. It was a lot of you were on you were doing a long form test. You were doing a long test where it took multiple days. It's been a couple of I think at this point it's been better part of a week of observations and trying to find things and information about this specific plot or what's going on. And you've made a decent amount of progress, more than halfway in that time period. But with the last check that was made, our friend Jack Roman was seemingly noticed while he was observing Doddelson operations on the edge of the city, watching, I believe it was a shipping and handling kind of operation. They were bringing stuff in and then putting it out into the city. But as you got that information and you headed out, you noticed you were being tailed by 2 individuals who were a moderate distance behind you. Like, not directly behind you, but like you've been around the block a couple of times. You can tell when somebody's following you. They're not being particularly stealthy. So that's where we left off.
Can anyone remember what I was gonna do?
We were currently talking to Andrews about what we were going to do, because you and I had just gone into Andrew's office and we were talking about what we're going to do next, because you had just been approached by the Weasel from the Baron about an update, and we were deciding what to do about the Donaldsons.
No, I was on my own.
He was on his own near some Donaldsons was the last thing.
No, I'm pretty sure we got rid of that. I'm pretty sure we were already done all that, weren't we?
No.
Or
No.
I'm going to pull up the VOD right now.
Yeah, no, the last thing was he was getting tailed.
Yeah,
My
the last-
memory is that bad. I need help.
Yeah, he was.
You missed
he
that
was-
whole last thing.
Wait for it.
I think what it was is Roach then sort of backtracked a bit, and then Rival said, "Oh, if he had known that, he would have tried to jump them to get some information off them."
I was short on sleep last time. I still am, actually. So.
Cat. Cat.
Oh. I was going like, Duke's not in here. I don't know where he is. It's a different cat.
Cat's going round.
But yeah, you were being tailed by two Donaldsons. What would you like to do? Because you have kind of finished your time observing, and they are definitely tailing you.
We don't know they're Donaldsons, do we?
You had identified them as Donaldson.
You'd identify.
I don't.
them.
Okay.
Yeah. They were wearing kind of, the general. They looked like that, like generally that operation, like that outfit.
Okay.
The telltale signs to identifying certain outfits.
Okay, I'm going to quicken my pace.
Okay.
Duck round a right angle corner.
Okay.
So I'm out of their sight. Stop, turn around, lean against the wall.
Okay. When you say you hook around like a right hand corner, are you going like into an alleyway? You're trying to like hide?
No, it's
from,
just
like,
no. I'm not hiding. I'm literally going around the corner at a quicker pace, making them think I'm trying to evade them, and then stopping. So when they come around, it's like you're caught. So why don't you tell me why you're following me, type thing.
Okay, give me a second. Okay. Could you roll for me a mind observation check?
I can as soon as my little screen thing opens up. There you go.
Should probably bring up Sirenscape.
Probably.
Yeah, that's.
I was wondering where the music was.
We've been covered on the broadcast. I've been
I've
playing.
got 3 completions.
Completions. Okay. Your highest was a 5.
Yes.
Okay. Give me a second here. One of those stupid. You gotta rotate the image to get it to verify that you're a person. So I can log into Sirenscape. I mean, Sirenscape's an amazing program. Totally with it. There we go. Actually, no. Okay. So Roman, your you hook around the corner and have your back to the wall, and you're just waiting. It takes a minute or two for these two individuals to kind of come into your view, and kind of they saw where you went, like they saw you hook around a corner, so they're like rounding a corner, and then they spot you, and they're about maybe 15-20 feet away from you at this point. And I mean, it's not like a secluded area. This is a street. It's a street corner. You see them. They see you see them. There's a good couple of beats of nothing happening. And the one that looks a little bit older, probably like the leader of this like little tail group. That his eyes narrow slightly, and then they just start walking past you as a group, and they just start walking down the street as if this was just a stroll. But no, they don't talk to you specifically, and they don't get within 10 feet of you. And they don't look back. What do you do?
Made my point. They don't look back. I wander casually towards the area of where I'm going back to the Alderman's, but I've got that kind of keen sixth sense thing going on, making sure I'm not being tailed in any way, shape, or form.
Do you are you doing the thing where you're taking like a very end around route? You're taking an odd route, so you're taking like a trolley that goes in an opposite direction for like a half hour or for like 20 minutes, and then you get on. And get on. It takes the right.
Takes it right back. That kind of thing.
You're just kind of gumming it up so that
anyone who is following me is obviously going to be pulled out of the crowd type thing.
Yeah, because
getting off one trolley, getting onto the next trolley, and oh look, hi, how are you doing?
With that mind observation check, you don't see anybody after that. You don't notice anybody repeating in the crowd. It's just normal everyday midday crowd for this kind of stuff. So it's not like too crowded. Midday in a city, like most people are at work. There's a couple of working stiffs and the like, but nothing like it's not rush hour. So easy enough.
Okie dokie.
So then he gets back, and we played that out. Then the info dump about the weasel, because you were there for that. Everything gets worked out, and because we backtracked at the end of the episode because that was a thing I forgot to play out when it was something that was happening. So we're still on an extended task. You're at 8 successes out of 15 necessary to get through here, but you don't necessarily have to. I don't know if I correctly conveyed this. The extended task is just a format to kind of work out and mechanically work through a large problem that takes a long time. But you can also role play through it and use common sense to figure out a mystery. So I'm not locking. It's not locked behind. It's not a game. It's not. Or it is a game, but it's not. It's not a video game where you got to get a certain key or a threshold to succeed in a quest. So you do have some information from last week. So if you need, that is a thing you can do. So don't think like I'm forcing you here. It doesn't. You also don't have to do consecutive days where you're doing this. It's just.
DM, what date is it? Because we've had 2 4-day trunks, haven't we? So is it around the 30th?
Yeah, it would be the 30th at this point. If we're picking up on the last day Roman did his task, it would be the 30th.
So we're kind of
July.
suspecting the Donaldson, right?
Yeah, a little bit. It's the Donaldsons or the Tierneys, I believe, were the other name. No, not
The
Tierneys.
Turners.
Turners. They're T. Yeah.
The Donaldsons work out the north, right?
Yeah.
So, out
They
of
don't really
my
jurisdiction, quote unquote.
no,
And the
as in they will have, they are running parts of the place that I'm the alderman of. So it wouldn't be unfeasible for me to have a sit their boss.
The Turner gang?
The
Donaldsons.
the
Donaldsons.
Weren't they in the
Donaldson's gang. They're in north, yes, but they're more on the northern exterior of the city, because they deal with a lot with bringing in stuff from the country, which is a bit less
okay.
patrolled. So they just bring things in a lot, and that's kind of their jurisdiction. They're one of those like how the wheelwrights are very located around harbors because they bring in stuff from Canada. Most of their territory is located around the harbor districts of the city.
It's not necessarily the gang that you will all find in all of Farside and North Point. They are kind of...
They're allowed the exterior, if there's because there's a lot of things like parking lots and storage facilities and stuff on the exterior of the city. There's a bit of an economic downturn in the city right now. I mean, it's still the roaring 20s, but there's a little economic downturn with some of the shipping companies. So there's a lot of empty space, things like that. I mean, it's kind of an unspoken thing that a lot of pallets of things aren't necessarily those things in some of these facilities. They're they'll be mislabeled, stuff like that. So that's where they're kind of located. They're more like a small pockets.
So early in the investigation, I noted down that the Donaldsons were also looking quite low on liquor as well.
Yeah.
So I think that sort of points towards the Turners, especially because the Blue Boy shot up a Turner speakeasy.
No,
at sort of the start of the war.
They shot up a wheelwright speakeasy.
I thought you
I
said...
talked to the Turners because that's who you said I worked for.
It was the
Hold
Turner
on.
speakeasy.
Just let me double check.
Yeah.
It's been 2 weeks for me too. So and
It's been 2 weeks for everyone on this call.
These notes went through a couple of revisions before that game went live. So just give me a second.
It's been more than 2 weeks.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
we didn't play the week before the Halloween game, I don't think.
Yes, it's been 3 weeks. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And
No,
then
you're right, yeah,
last week we were off. Then before that was Halloween game, and then
So
it's been a month.
Who are you people?
I'm your son. Hi.
No, you're right. Yeah, the Turner. It was a Turner. It was a Turner outfit.
Yeah. Listen, I can
What the
go talk to the Donaldsons, Andrews. That's not a difficult thing, but they might not like me turning up at their door. I don't know why they're here. Their leader could be, I don't know, someone who got kicked out of Ireland for whatever reason. Could be he and I have friends. Could be he and I have enemies. Could be he and I are enemies from a past life. I don't know. But I won't know that until I knock on their door.
Well, could it be that some of them go to my church?
I don't know. Maybe. Depends on how fancy the church is.
It's not fancy,
one-
but it is Catholic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's only
probably.
1 or 2 Catholic churches inside of Tricogha.
It depends.
Tricogha. Shut up. It's been a month.
It depends, to be honest, Madame La Pan. I don't go to church anymore. Maybe those boys decided they didn't after what they saw. I don't know. But talking to them isn't hard. You know, I could invite... I know the guys at the local Irish speakeasy. I worked there for a little while before Turner has kind of offered me more money. So I could go and talk to them. But there are some very obvious caveats to that.
Well, if you wish for some non-threatening company, I will accompany you.
Well, you are, I think, Madame La Pan, the only option.
It's
Everyone knows-
Mademoiselle. I am not married yet.
Mademoiselle. Well, everyone knows who Andrews is. Everyone knows who Roman works for, and Harry's English.
Painfully English. Sometimes.
I'm pretty sure if he went out there, he'd be killed and skinned, but, you know. I don't know. Yet again, it might be a case of their unionists who fled the country or something. Who knows?
No offense taken, Paddy.
Good. I wouldn't have cared either way. So what do you think, Andrews? I can spin out, say hello, dip my toes in, see if we can find some more friends. Roman, your opinion, since Andrews is occupied?
I prefer if you called him the Alderman first.
I think it could be an idea. We gotta not forget as well that, yeah, I'm known, but being known also has its advantages. We can swing that clout, get us in some doors that, you know, bravado gets us in rather than deceit.
I think Roman likes to put it as keeping your name out of our mouth tends to make plausible deniability a lot easier, I think is what he told me.
Kid learns.
Well, let's go see what you find.
Mademoiselle, you don't need to wear anything fancy for this one.
That's fine. I wasn't planning on it.
Just thought I'd make it known. Wouldn't want you spending your time getting all, you know, pretty up before you go out to, to a sleazy bar. Anyway, I'll dip my toes in the water, see what's going on up there.
All right. So, specifically, what is Larence like? What's he? Is he going to a speakeasy to try and figure out what's going on, or are you going to church? What was the...
Larence would prefer to go to the speakeasy, but since it's during the day, it's not a Sunday, is it? I don't think.
No,
and I don't think the 30th is a necessarily holy day either of whatever.
Actually, the 30th is Saturday.
Might be some people in, maybe. I assume it's too early in the day for the speakeasy to be open.
I mean, you don't have to go right now. You can wait.
Well, that's what I assume. So,
yeah,
church speakeasy. Then we'll see how it goes from there.
So, up to you. What you specifically want to do?
Mademoiselle, any opinions?
During the day, they may be a little less, how do you say, in their cups, and a little more amenable. Like you say, you do not know whose side they are on.
Fair, yeah. We can visit the church, and if I don't get anything from there, speak easy. I know the guys.
Well, if you're uncomfortable at the church, I will go in.
Nah, that's fine. I just haven't been in a while. Feels weird.
Okay. So, do the church first. So, here, Miss La Pan and Mr. O'Shea does Larence go into the church, or is he waiting outside?
He goes into the church.
Okay, so it's not like a big church. This is, Protestant country, Midwest, United States. There's not a huge Catholic population, or not a huge Catholic population with a lot of money to put towards building a church. I mean, it's mostly immigrants coming over from Catholic countries at this point, and they haven't really gotten a majority yet. So this is moderate sized. Like, you're not getting like one of those big cathedral ones where there's a lot of echo or everything. This is very moderate, small. I mean, big enough that you can have a moderately sized congregation on Sundays. This is where my lifelong atheism hurts me, because I haven't actually been to a church in almost 24 years. So
Don't think many of us have.
And that was a Baptist church, so I have no idea.
Roach, we play the devil's game. Do you think we've been in the church?
There is a Christian version of D&D.
Oh God, I don't want to see it. No.
So I'm assuming there's a pulpit or something. It's honestly, I have no idea what's inside a Catholic church.
Make it up as you go along, Roach. We will believe you.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah.
It's the 1920s. Who knows?
It's the 1920s, and you're all animals, so who knows?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I have, and don't ask. I don't know what Jesus would be.
Oh boy.
So, it's fairly empty this time of day. There's, the
Hang on, how do you not know what Jesus would be? He would be a lamb.
Oh,
yeah.
You're right. That would be.
He would have to be a lamb.
Yeah. That's
A
true.
sheep, if you
The
would.
Lamb of God.
A sheep. Yeah.
The Lamb of God.
Yeah. No, that is true.
All right, fair enough. Yep, that's sorted.
Oh, and that makes sense too, because then God would be depicted as just a sheep with like a lot of. There's a big beard. There's just a lot of wool, because it's got the beard.
No, God. Actually, there is a depiction of the Lamb of God with multiple eyes. So depicting God in furry form
Just a
would be
spider.
horrific looking. like no, genuinely.
Spider
If you look at some of the old artwork and
this is New Testament Jesus, not Old Testament Jesus.
Oh yeah.
no, even in New Testament,
We're not talking about old.
we're talking about the very end of the New Testament.
It
Where
would
it's
be
talking
Very
about
binding of Isaac, put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, there's that little I may not be getting this right, but I'm pretty sure most Catholic churches have like a holy water. Like yes. I'm gonna assume Utari knows more than I do.
So for context, no, I was not brought up Catholic. Yes, I was brought up basically Catholic within the Anglican Church. Our church was part of the all but Catholic in name.
Yeah, so a little place right next to the door. You can dip your fingers in holy water and put it onto your forehead, etc. Whether you take part in that, it's up to you. This is why I'm more comfortable with fantasy churches. I can just make it. I can just make it whatever it is.
Lena does the whole crossing herself and everything.
Yeah.
I don't. He does not. Larence does not.
All
He
right.
walks in casually. As casually as he can.
Yeah, and there's like a few people here and there that are in pews, like doing like kind of personal prayer by themselves. Like maybe this is the only time they get a chance to. Nobody's leading prayer at this point. It's a Saturday. It's not services. It's just open for people that want to come in and they need to and they need to pray, or they need to partake in confession. Because that's the thing as well. I remember that. I know that. I'm serious. I've been an atheist for 99% of my life. I have no idea what's going on here. But what are you looking for specifically when you go in there? Are you trying to look for
God?
Do I notice that too? Yeah. I searched. Can I roll a mind observation for God?
God. It's high DC, that one.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever got that.
No. So my
John the Baptist or something.
turns out Larence is actually the reincarnation of Jesus. That'd be awkward. Anyway,
Yeah, it would be.
So I'm looking for anyone who I recognize either from the Irish speakeasy or someone who has very obvious like Irish monikers on them. Like maybe they're wearing like a green, white, and blue patch or something like that. Green, white, or just a green patch that has the harp in it, something like that. Because it would be the old style flag. The new style flag hasn't been wouldn't have been like
the Irish
adopted.
tricolour, yeah.
Yeah, the tricolour wouldn't have been very like out there yet.
Yeah.
So you're not looking for people with pints of Guinness in their hands?
Yes.
Definitely not in the church.
I
no.
mean, that does sound like something that we would do in a church, to be honest.
Yeah, it would.
I won't lie.
They go through a lot of communion wine.
Yeah, like at the top of the church, there's just a tap with Guinness in it.
It's just a tap with Guinness in it.
Yeah, the priest pulls himself a pint.
The priest can pour perfectly every time.
Oh god,
Like,
Yeah, with less clover.
The man's blessed.
Clover on the top.
The man is blessed. I'll tell you that much now.
Yeah,
Jesus. Pull a pint out, stir God himself.
And that is not easy, I want to point out. When you're doing it in a glass that's filling up with a liquid, you've got to do the clover on the top.
No, it's not.
So, we'll play this game eventually. Eventually. Okay, well, if you're going to be doing that, give me a mind observation check. If Miss La Pan wants to aid in that, you can roll the same. If you get one success, then Larence can receive, I believe, a D8.
My observation's pretty good.
My mind is a D6, and my observation is a D6.
I would say this. I would have to make it Larence doing this because he recognizes the symbols more so.
Yes, I will assist.
Yeah. And you could just like point out ones and you're helping him kind of like that.
So I'm rolling my mind observation to give him an extra D8.
Yes. The best part about this game is the fact that even after a month, the system's so simple that we can kind of get it back within a couple of minutes. It's not bad.
Love these times, people. Love them, because when I finally get that ED quest thing sorted out, you guys are gonna just go, why can't we go back to the anthropomorphic animals? That was so easy.
Oh. Check what came in the mail this last week. This is the GM screen, and look at the artwork that they have for the GM screen.
That is gorgeous.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that.
Look at that. That is amazing. I love it.
I love that. All right, so you got a success, so I have an extra D8. Perfect.
Yeah.
So
and that starter box as well for Twilight 2000 is heavy as hell. That's like 5 pounds of just stuff.
Observation D8. So 2 successes. That was cocked as all hell.
That D8 was cocked as hell.
I was like, is that a 2 or a 7? It's a 7, so it's a success. 2 successes.
Okay. I'll say, yeah, you see a few individuals that kind of pop up on your radar. Not necessarily gang affiliate or people that you recognize from the speakeasy as much, but you do notice a few people that definitely look like they're not, I don't want to say right off the boat, but like there are signs you can tell that they're very they're like first generation, or they've been here or they haven't been here as long. They haven't integrated as much. Like they're still wearing things that are more popular in Ireland at the time, or they've got clothes that definitely like give them away, or they're wearing no pins really. I wouldn't say, because pins weren't really like a thing as much in this era. It was more like definitely I would say probably there'd be an older gentleman who's like going gray around his muzzle and stuff, who's got like a pocket square made of the Irish flag, like in his and it's folded so that the harp is there'd be harp, right?
Yeah, it's a harp.
Yeah. The harp is noticeable. Like
the old Irish flag is literally just a green square with a gold harp on it. That's it.
Yeah,
that is the old Irish flag.
I can't remember. It gets mixed up in my head because there's a Civil War regiment that was the Irish regiment for the Union, and they used a modified Irish flag, but it had a blue field.
Yeah,
and it was and that's that, and it just piques my that's in my head all the time.
Yeah, I know, I get it. So
but you notice a few of those individuals, but not necessarily anybody that looks like, oh, that's a Donaldson, or oh, that's somebody I've seen in the Irish
bar.
pubs.
Yeah. Right.
No,
so
none of that.
I'm actually going to walk up to that older fella with the pocket square with the harp, and Larence is going to say, "An Altan Lunin Anarch and Stags Ansforn Air Ballet," which is where the stag's horns rest, Ireland finds home, which is an ye olde phrase that we used for.
Okay, good. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah,
I don't.
You don't speak
that.
Irish.
I don't speak Irish.
You were about to say you were about to say you don't know Latin, weren't you?
No, I knew it was a form of Gaelic because I can recognize Latin. I actually can I can't speak it, but I can recognize the pronunciation and sentence structure of Latin. Like that is a thing I can do. Just like I can differentiate between Portuguese and Spanish. Like that's very
yeah.
A lot of people can't do that. So you like sit next to him like in the pew and you're because he's in a pew right now. Okay. He's in the middle of prayer. You go up to him, you say the phrase kind of under your breath. You're not being loud about it, just kind of, one-on-one. And he comes up with his prayer, looks at you like kind of up and down a little bit, and gives you like that knowing nod, like that you've had, like we've all experienced that at some point in our own lives. Like somebody gives you like a knowing nod, that they kind of like recognize you, or they're kind of
they're of kin.
They're of kin. They're acknowledging you like respectfully. And now that you're closer to this individual, you notice a couple of things about him. He is where his suit's not too nice, but it's not like ratty. He does have a cane like next to him that's kind of leaning against the pew that's there, and he has a prosthetic prosthesis, like a wooden leg on his right side. And that's what you see. So far, he's got the pocket square. He acknowledges you, and he kind of there's like a couple of beats where nothing's really happening. But he kind of gives you this really raspy voice. I can't do it because my voice is trash right now. I've been combating a head cold for the last couple of days, so it's been just bad. But a really raspy, kind of wet voice. It kind of gives you, and where were you during the whole I don't know the sorry, I'm all scattershot. I had a thing for this guy, but I'm completely
gone
blank today.
Just gone.
It's just gone. No, he's asking about where you were deployed, because he recognizes he recognizes that you were in.
I assume this conversation isn't Irish, by the way.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, no, I'd say he would definitely be in Irish. He wouldn't be speaking. Yeah.
He responds with in the war, North France, at home, I was with Michael.
Gives you a nod, just kind of, acknowledging, and he says, I wasn't in long, and it's like, again, it's really raspy. You're not, it's something wrong with it. But there's like something wrong with the voice, and he says, I wasn't in too long. Kept getting, I wasn't in too long. I had a lot of problems that just kept hitting me. And the guy gives us like a lopsided smile, and he like knocks his leg. So there's like a little hollow wood sound. This is the psalm and yeet, or wipers, I guess. He would say wipers because British would. That's what they called it.
Well, German. And he points at his cheek. I think I got a little lucky, but we're both still here, right, old man?
Just here to reminisce.
You see a lot of friends from the homeland here?
Not as much as I'd like.
Yeah, I get that feeling. Never quite sure if they're friends of enemies, or enemies of friends. What happens when you pick sides, right?
Just nods, kind of gives a sigh.
Well, here. And he fishes into his pocket. And I'll give this, like, guy a moderate amount of expense. Just give it to him.
Oh, a moderate. So you're okay. Sure, yeah. So you can mark down like a moderate expense you've expended, which would be your only one for the next like a little while, at least until your next like
that's fine.
payday, because you haven't saved enough to be able to do that regularly. So yeah, no, you give him like a few dollars, and he kind of gives you like a more earnest nod. Like you can see a thanking look in his eye. He takes it. He doesn't not take it. You can tell he's a little hard on his luck. Thank you. If you need anything.
Here. And he reaches into his jacket, gives him a card. If you ever need anything, or if you ever hear anything that might be useful, give me a call. I'll pay you for any good information.
Gives you a nod and just puts the card in his like inner pocket. Thank you.
Hope you find some peace in here, old man. I know I
Trying.
never did. He gives him a pat on the shoulder. Madame, I think we're done here.
Okay. Au revoir, monsieur.
And yeah, you leave. Sorry, I'm so scattershot today. It's been a month, and
It's good. It's good. It's good. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's fine, right?
Yep. Want to jump back to the other guys for a minute?
I don't. Did you guys have any plans for while that was going on?
We don't really have anywhere for me to burgle as part of the job, right?
No, I mean I will say you've been because of all the stuff you've been doing over the last couple of days, especially Roman, because Roman's been doing a lot more observational stuff, like watching operations, whereas you were more part of like you were searching for like information. I mean, if Roman shares it, you would know the locations of a few hubs of activity for a few gangs.
Roman would.
Yeah, so you would know Donaldson's have a few shipping operations in a couple of spots in the city that are kind of right at the exterior, and it seems where the majority of their goods are coming in, or at least it looks like the majority of their goods are coming in. Things like Pine Ridge, there's 2 in Harrison's Bluff, that kind of stuff. There's one that's actually a part of the area where the airport's being made, and it's just like a building that's been used to store construction goods but is now empty, and they're using it. Stuff like that. You would also know a few Blue Boys locations. They're along the river, so they're like warehouses that store like goods that come down the river on barges. And those, so you have a couple of areas, and say you have like 4 or 5 locations like that. If you would like, I mean, if that's something you would be interested in, you could definitely go and like get inside to try and get information. That'd be a more involved check, but it could lead to more successes on this long test, or on this extended task.
Well, it is his specialty, so breaking into places.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Okay. So, what would you like to favor? Because do you want me to give you like the lowdown on these, and you can make a choice? Because I have a
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. The 2 in Harrison's Bluff. One of them is located on the property of a how to describe it. I guess you would call it like a junkyard, but not really a junkyard. It's more like a place where they bring in like old busted vehicles and stuff, and they break them down to components to resell, stuff like that. Not necessarily a chop shop. It's a legitimate operation, but it seems they're storing stuff in the basement, and they're using like the coming and going of vehicles as kind of cover for that. And then the other one in Harrison's Bluff is the one on the airport, on the property of the municipal airport. That's less like covered, but the fact that the municipal airport is a active construction zone that is almost finished, there's things getting like coming and going a lot, so it looks like that's probably why they're using it. And it's an old storage building on the outskirts of the property, probably something that's meant to be torn down before it's finished but hasn't been yet. So that's one. The Pine Ridge one is the one that our friend Roman was at today, which it's a larger storage house that deals with a lot of businesses. It's a place businesses will rent floor space on to keep their stuff in when they don't have space in their own property or their own stores, things like that. It's kind of like it's a warehouse, but for multiple businesses. And it looks like they're kind of using that as cover as well. Coming and going of a lot of vehicles, shipping and receiving, and that seems to be very active with a lot of stuff coming and going. How much of it is product or specifically tied to gang-related activity, you don't know. I don't think Roman could ascertain that from a distance, but definitely the volume of traffic was higher. And then all the Blue Boys ones are fairly moderate in like activity, but very small in size. It looks like they're less centralized. They're just in small warehouses along the river. One of them also is specifically like a floating barge that seems one person in the gang owns, and it just moves up and down the river, going down the river to pick up whatever it needs to pick up, coming up the river to drop it off. And I don't remember who got the Blue Boys, who was observing them, but part of that was they figured out there's it does legitimate business as well as gang related, sometimes mixing both. So that'd be kind of your biggest targets. You would know, because I don't know if Midge was going to bring this up, but he is the alderman of the district, or of the sub-district where the municipal airport is being built. In fact, like that's kind of the big thing. You got scheduled in I think a month or two, a ribbon cutting for the opening of the airport. So you could have access to the grounds there legitimately if you wanted to. And then it would just be kind of getting in without being noticed.
Yeah, let's go with that. Let's go with the airport. There's, anything that's going to make my life easier in the initial stages, I'm going to take it.
Okay. Andrews, Alderman. Harry Neville is not technically one of your employees, or at least not on record. He is Roman is actually listed as like a staff member, and so is Larence now. Harry isn't, but there are a lot of ways you could get him onto the airport as like a representative. But you would need to kind of think up how would you go about doing that? Because depending on that, you're gonna have to roll for it to see if you can make like documents that make sense, not necessarily false documents, because you have the right to kind of do a lot of that. It's more just like the reason.
He's okay. I would go. He's an flight safety inspector coming to check the hangars and everything are up to code for international vehicles. Ones that have probably, because they have to land at multiple places, so there's because international transit will go through through Newfoundland, land in Newfoundland, come back off here, so there's enough fuel still.
International transit's not really a thing yet.
That's not a thing.
Security consultant.
Yeah, security consultant. There we go. That's something a bit
His
better.
job as a former person of ill employment is to point out the safety and security defects within the municipal airport.
Why would the council? That is my thing.
Because they've invested an obscene amount of money into the building of this.
What about
is the
union representative? Union representative.
The airport is a subsidized construction by the city directly. It is technically, it's like it's a gray area. Because this is 1920s. Technically, Pan Am is an independent organization, but 90% of their business comes through the U.S. government, and it's like FedEx. No, it's an actual monopoly. Like Pan Am pays off at this point in time most of the Senate and most of the representatives, so no other air company can exist and do things like go to South America and Canada and stuff. It's like, it's bad. It's bad in this time period. But yeah, the airport's not owned by a separate company as such. It's owned by it's a gray area. So you would have authority, kind of, if you wanted to, for things like security checks or just like observation, or you're like doing inspection or something like that.
And the great thing about a security expert is they basically have clearance to go anywhere they damn well please.
Okay. Let's go with that then. We'll go with security expert, and the council's just doing their due diligence.
We might want to get him some new clothes.
We were ready to do that.
A decent suit actually works, because you wouldn't have a uniform as a security advisor. It'd just be
exactly.
You just have a three-piece, a normal three-piece or something like that. So
as an ex-security guard, walking into a place with a uniform usually makes it pretty easy to walk in there.
It does, but the uniforms don't necessarily exist for this kind of thing at this point in time.
That's true, yeah.
You can't really just put on a high-vis vest and go into the facility and nobody questions you.
It's like, I have a
that's what
high-vis
you
vest and a clipboard.
Yeah. It's like Mike Ehrmantraut from Better Call Saul that just enters that building and just acts like a supervisor in that episode. Just like even...
Yep.
It works. It genuinely works. You can walk into all kinds of places if you're wearing
a clipboard and a high vis. Get a clipboard and a high vis. Nobody will question you.
It's like the whole fact you can get into anywhere for free if you're holding a ladder.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, or like a tool belt. If you're wearing a tool belt, nobody
cares.
Nobody cares.
There was like I saw a couple of videos of people getting through like paid ticket areas in London because two of them were holding a ladder between them, so they assumed they were workmen and like buzzed them through with the staff cards.
Yeah,
stuff, and then they just went on the attraction.
I'm not gonna lie.
Not condoning that at all, but
I'm not condoning.
This is not advice.
It's not advice. I'm not gonna lie. I used to work as an individual that got into the back areas of like all big box stores to inspect things. As kind of like I was a field rep for a marketing company, so we had to check like stock levels and things like that. I got fired from that job, but they didn't take my badge or like my uniform or anything. So there have been times when like the bathrooms have been out of order, and I've just got into my car and took my badge out and just went to the staff bathroom, and nobody gives a shit. Like, nobody stops me.
Okay.
Like.
I will write up some paperwork.
Okay.
For Harry to take that say that he's been hired by the council as an independent security consultant to check out the progress and security of the new airport, due to the uptick in gang violence that has been occurring in our great city.
Okay.
Is he Henry or Harold?
Harry.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to make you
So,
roll for
neither.
that. What I'm going to assign a difficulty level that other individuals, if they confront him, have to beat to kind of see through what's going on.
What do you want me to do for my forgery?
You're not forging anything though.
I'm making up about him though. His credentials.
Yeah, well,
are
that's what I mean. You came up with a plausible story, and the plausible story is setting a difficulty level for other characters to beat if this comes up. So you basically you had to actually think of something instead of rolling a die to figure out if it works. Sure. So that's what I'm trying to get role play going a little bit. Go shake the cobwebs out of this. So okay. Is it only Harry going, or is Roman coming as well, or is it just going to be Harry?
No, I'm going to go, and I'm also going to be discussing, where we're going to be doing the banner opening. Was the best place for photo ops? We're going to have people from the newspaper. So
okay, that's also gonna.
Yeah,
that's gonna make it a very hard check for other people then, because you have he's a part of
I'll
an
let
entourage.
him obviously go off, but I'm gonna be doing my media famous.
What are you doing back here? I'm with him. Pointing at the Alderman.
Pointing at the famous Tiger Alderman that's going. Okay, we're gonna have camera here. The newsies are there.
No, okay, that works. So yeah, I'll say you set this up. We'll run this and we'll do whatever the other two are gonna. Or basically,
that means I'm with the Alderman. Then I'm not gonna leave him on his own.
Roman's coming. Yeah, if I'm going.
Yeah, Roman's coming. No, I'm saying La Pan and Larence. You would be doing your stuff during the night, going to the speakeasy, and what Jack, Harry, and Roman are doing would happen like the next day, because it wouldn't make a lot of sense to come at night for this. So we're gonna do the other two and their side. So you're going back to the same Irish speakeasy that you have a friend in, or
the one with Jeremiah. Yeah,
Jeremiah. Okay. And you're just trying to like gather information and try and figure out.
Yeah, because if someone starts throwing hands in that place, at least I know someone who knows me, and they're not just gonna go, well, he's just a random schlub. It's more like, oh, that's Larence. He's just trying to be a stand-up boy,
All right.
Maybe.
Yeah. And we worked out. We established La Pan has been here before, at least once.
Yeah.
So yeah. You're not stopped or anything. It's not it's not uncommon for you to come. Like maybe not in so many iterative days. Like you've come back. You've been here like twice in less than a week, which is not normal, but it's still.
Well, I am currently out of work. As far as I know.
It's just over a week, actually.
That's true. Yeah, but no, Larence. I get the sense Larence spends a lot of his time at the speakeasy he works in, so he doesn't come to a speakeasy to relax. It's like going back. It's like going to your work to have fun. Like you just don't do that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But it's nothing that somebody's gonna say, what's going on there? It's more just, okay.
He's here.
It's easier.
He got shot the other day. That's fair.
Yeah, and it's public knowledge that the Red Diamond got hit and it's out. So you come in. It's night. It's Saturday. It's a big crowd. This is like an actual big crowd of people. Everybody's kind of out of work. And tomorrow's Sunday, so you've got the day before you can pray away whatever you're doing tonight. So it's usually what happens.
Yeah.
So there's actually like a band that's playing a lot of like actual like Irish kind of folk music.
Yeah.
A lot
there's
of things.
There's a violin and a tambourine.
There's a violin. If there's any lyrics in some of these, a lot of the older or middle-aged individuals kind of even if they have lyrics that are known for some of these folk songs, they've replaced them with like
How old's
very,
Danny
very
Boy?
vehemently anti-British lyrics for some of these. Like,
Yeah, fair,
like,
fair. Yeah, that's not normal.
Yeah. So, you know, it's raucous. It's raucous, but it's not uncontrolled.
Yeah.
Is what you can definitely tell that, like, there's more than just one bouncer. There's some muscle here and there, kind of in different corners to keeping an eye
I give
on
Jeremiah a nod because I'm assuming he's working today.
Oh, he is. Yeah, he's totally working. This is where they make most of their money, is during these days, during the weekends. Like, yeah. So, yeah. No, he
Lena
gives you a
is
nod.
literally holding onto your arm, A, because she's short and you're tall, and B, it makes you look less threatening.
I'm not sure if that helps much with the whole face scar thing, but I appreciate the attempt.
You wouldn't be out to cause trouble with a lady on your arm.
That's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair.
It's also.
And I will
not
also
usually-
buy. I will buy Lena a drink if she wants, because it's impolite in his
A
mind
small
to go to a
stout,
place.
please.
Yeah, it's impolite in his mind to go to a pub and not buy a drink. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like you don't go into like a place of business and not partake in the business at least a little bit, so that you can justify your existence there.
yeah,
Like-
Larence will get a whiskey. He'll get a small stout for Lena.
The same thing happens in like a local game store. If you go into a local game store, you buy one thing, even if you didn't
Even if it's just a paint pot, you still buy it.
or a thing of dice. You, okay, they don't have the book I want. I will buy this die because I need to give you money for allowing me in here. Like, that's good.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
So yeah. You go in, you buy a drink, you blend in. Essentially, like nobody's paying a lot of attention here. I'm sorry I don't have like Irish music. No.
I did kind of spring this on you. It's fine.
No, it works. But yeah, so but you blend in, like, because nobody's keeping an eye out. There's a lot of people in here. Basically as soon as you walk in, you just become the crowd to anybody on exterior. So give me specifics. What are you looking for? What are you trying to spot? Like, what's your goal here?
I'm trying to spot anyone who I would either recognize as a member of the Donaldsons or who has direct connections to the Donaldsons.
Okay. Well, I would say, without even rolling for it, you would know, since you have worked with Donaldsons, affiliated people, or at least you know some affiliated people. You've got Jeremiah, who is not technically a part of the game, but he works in an establishment that is a Donaldson establishment. So you know what to look for. A lot of Donaldsons, they're ones that will actually like wear like telltale things on them. Like the Blue Boys have a very noticeable thing. They'll all be wearing like, they'll have a blue pocket square, or a blue tie with no design on it, or they'll have like a little blue hat band or something like that. They have blue somewhere on them. With the Donaldsons, you have to know iconography a little bit. So they'll have somewhere on them the primary colors of the current Irish flag next to each other.
So like the tricolor, like the modern flag?
What
year
like
is
they'll
this?
have gold. They'll have like a gold and
green and
green.
Yeah.
And,
So like an emerald brooch, something like that.
yeah, they'll have something like that, or some of them will have like an actual like pin or a cufflink with a harp on it. Like things like that. It's very subtle, but if you know what you're looking for, it's like one of those things. Once you know what you're looking for, you can kind of spot it pretty quick. And I'll say, give me a mind observation check, and I'll say if Lena wants to take point on this, you could try and succeed giving her information about how to.
She's good at spotting shinies, if nothing else.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I'll help her out with that, because not only do I give her a bigger die type, but also Larence is going to specifically mention to keep an eye out for anyone whose drink is low, because they can buy them a drink and make themselves more, amenable to people.
Just to point out, the Irish flag, as we know it today, was in use by now.
Yeah, it was, but it wasn't popularized.
Since 24, it was the flag of the Irish Free State, so it existed.
It existed,
I'll say-
but it wasn't the one that I was using. If Larence was using before that.
Yeah, it wasn't, but you would be aware of the.
Yeah, like
right?
Larence is aware of what it is, but you know.
We'll say
he's been
they kind of have both. There's a mix.
I
There's a
mean,
mix.
the one before that had the Union Jack on it, so.
I'm not talking
No.
about the one that we use. I'm talking about the one that the rebels used, which was different.
Yeah.
Oh, it was just
Yeah.
Irish Republic on green. It was like as text.
When did home rule end then?
1920 something, 1920, I think.
1920.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
1920.
last year was
It's-
Ireland's 100-year
Yeah.
independence.
It's been 7 years since Ireland became an independent country
Okay.
in this current timeline, because it's 1927 right now in the
Mm.
game. So it's been about 7 years. So you would know. I'll say there's kind of both, like intermixed between both, depending on how long they've been in the U.S. Because there's a lot of
Yeah.
people that came immediately from Ireland after after like the whole rigmarole there, and they associate that flag more so. But some of the newer immigrating individuals, they would be using tricolor colors,
Yeah.
more so. But it's still easy enough to spot. It still holds true. So go ahead, roll your mind observation check. If you get at least one success, then you can provide a bonus die to Miss La Pan's.
Success.
Okay. Well,
All right, you got a D12. Congrats.
so an extra D12 for your mind observation check. Don't roll multiple.
Merci. I have my luck. If all
I'm
goes
gonna
through
say
this one.
it's a difficulty 2. I have to get in touch that I have to tell you the difficulty level.
Oh,
Ooh, oh.
I might roll luck after this. We'll see how it goes.
well, you can't.
No, I
succeed
will
now.
roll luck.
Yeah, you can't succeed now, so you have to roll luck or not.
Oh, that's 1.
Yeah.
So I'm going to roll 1d6
re-roll.
and 2d8s.
Yeah, you can re-roll all of it, which is the best part of luck.
Yep. But then you have to mark that off for this game.
That's fine.
Yeah. You can also force Roach to re-roll all of his dice as well.
Oh gosh. I'm not rolling against you though. Oh, just
So-
barely.
just
Just
barely.
barely. Oh, you needed that D12 so bad. Oh, nothing can save you on bad luck. Bad
No,
rolls.
no, not a thing.
Okay, I'm gonna say it takes you a while, and I'll chalk this up to Larence knowing this, but Pan doesn't as much. You've been like you've been told, but it's kind of it's it's a loud noise. He's kind of giving you like, okay, look for this, kind of look for this, but it doesn't really mean that. Look for something like that. There's a lot of contradictory bits and pieces of the explanation of how to spot it, and it just takes a long time. It just takes a long time. But you finally find one individual. You find one individual. They are at the bar. And the reason you didn't spot them is because they're one of the individuals. They have cufflinks that have a harp on them. And they're one of the, they look like they're pretty deep in the cup, and so their hands are like down, and you weren't able to see it until you had a flash of it, just barely. They're not their drink isn't low as much. You only got barely 2 cents. That was after a luck check, so so I can't give you were gonna have a choice, but not anymore. There's but he doesn't have a very low drink. He looks like he's been here a lot, like a lot, and for a long time. You might get something out of him, you might not. It's hard to tell without interacting with him. He looks younger than you, Larence, by a bit. And he's not like raggedy or anything like that. He's just like there's like a lot of creases and stuff. He hasn't like ironed a shirt in a while, or hasn't anybody ironed a shirt in a while. It's more like, it's maybe he hasn't gone home in a day or two. Kind of bit. That's kind of what you get a sense from afar.
Well, once Lena points him out to me, I'm going to lean down to her and say, "Stay behind me. This guy looks pretty sauced," basically. just in case he
Well-
decides to jump at me.
There are two options. Either you keep an eye on me and I go talk to him, because I am a pretty girl,
No denying that.
or you go talk to him and I just stay quietly on the side. Which do you think is best?
Well, if he gets angry, I don't want him jumping at you.
I can jump out the way. Do not worry about me.
Is Jeremiah still here, Roach?
It's been like 3 hours of going and checking these people. I got you took a luck check on that to just barely.
Well,
get it, so
I'm going to
it's very-
assume he's still here because the bar is still
He's-
open.
Yeah, Jeremiah is not a barman.
Yeah.
He is a bodyguard or muscle kind of or he's a muscle.
Yeah, I know. He's bouncer.
So he's a bouncer. No, he's there. Yeah, I'll say he's there. It's getting kind of late for him though, because there is a time they will rotate the bouncers out a little bit. There's a back room and something like that, and you just can't stay. Like you can't keep vigilance for a long period without just taking a break and kind of getting yourself.
That wasn't a thing for us, but here we are. Anyway, I'm going to just raise my hand at him, like as if to say, hey, might just be doing something stupid here. And I'm going to turn to Lana and say, let me talk to him.
Yeah.
Enjoy your drink, and I will pick up my drink, which I assume I have got a refill of at this point, 3 hours later.
Oh yes, it's been a while. Yeah.
Oh, Lawrence, before you go, will you be speaking something I can understand? So I should listen as well, or shall I go mingle?
Go mingle.
Yeah.
And he picks up the glass, orders another one of the same, another whiskey, pays for it, walks down to the bar, puts it in front of him and says that same phrase again, that where the stag's horns lay is where Ireland shall find home, in Irish, to him.
Okay. Okay. Wait a second here. I had to get a random character set up here. So this young badger is kind of swaying a little bit. Kind of like looks up at you and kind of he doesn't. It's that thing where he looks up and he expects you to be farther away than you are, and it takes like a minute for him to focus his eyes in closer. And check here. Just gonna see if this
Rolling the
default-
novelty dice.
Yeah, this is an example of something where I've been in this store for an hour and a half. I need to buy something. So, this was on the counter.
Fair.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He responds in English. He responds in English, heavily accented English, but his initial thing is English. And he's just damn right.
A little lost in the good stuff there, friend.
I don't know what you're talking about. I got days left in me.
Why does this sounds like people I've thrown out of pubs before? Ah!
And you notice I'm not using an Irish accent because I would insult somebody.
Not me. I've heard worse. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I slide the whiskey over to him.
Thank you. Is it a whiskey? Is it a shot? Is it just a shot?
No, it's a glass with some ice in it.
Oh,
because
it's okay. It's glass. Okay, so yeah,
Yeah.
he just takes it. He takes a drink of that. Nice, good. And he puts the drink down, and then a second later, he brings up his other drink and takes a sip of that.
I've done that before.
Yeah.
And I've not so proudly I've done that before. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, he looks yeah, no, he looks like he is properly pickled right now. It's
he's a little roasted toasted, you know.
yeah, Yeah.
Listen, I noticed your cufflinks. I know who you work for, and I know who this place is ran by. Any chance you could put in a word for me? I need to talk to somebody. Anybody, really.
You're looking at the representative today. It's not
many internal swear words. Just all of the languages he knows, swear words.
You got something to talk about? You can talk to me.
Okay. I'm gonna pull a card out, hand it to him. Name's Larence. And I'm sure you and your boys know about the current bathtub situation.
Yeah.
God, I wish this guy was sober.
For someone who doesn't drink, Roach does a very good drunk guy.
He does, yeah.
There's a reason I don't drink.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's because I've known a few too many people with my last name that are this person. So
Ooh. All right. Yeah, I have a vested interest in making sure that the bathtubs get drained. And so does my employer.
you just got to take up the stopper and it'll just go down. It's not too hard.
Pinches his snout, like talking
Can
about.
Lena see this?
Definitely.
I mean, you can see a conversation happening. Do you immediately switch back to English, by the way, or are you just talking?
Oh yeah, I'm speaking in English. If he speaks English, like as his first like instinct, I'm speaking.
His initial reaction. I recognized Gaelic, but he immediately went to English when he started talking to you. So you see it. I'll say it's getting 3 hours on. Started probably in. Oh yeah, you're a rabbit. Yeah, you can. You have a pretty high. I mean, you rolled poorly, but I'm gonna say you have enough dice in your roll that you probably could hear this if you wanted to surreptitiously get kind of close and hear what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not as loud now. It's the initial rush of everybody in there, and it's just like putting on a good show and a good party for people coming in to spend as much money as possible. Now that's kind of died down slightly, so you can get.
I will triple something so Larence notices that I'm sort of going to sit behind him. But I realise the drunk guy's not going to notice me, so it's fine.
Yeah, like he probably has like his left hand down beside him, and you just tap his hand, and he's like, "All right, I know who that is."
Yeah. So that's nothing. That you can do that.
I'm talking.
This guy.
Listen, friend, I'm just gonna speak in plain terms here. I'm talking about the bathtub gin supply. These guys driving.
Somebody might be listening.
I tried to speak in code here, but you're a bit sauced, my friend.
Yeah.
Thanks for. You know what? At least he admitted it. So, listen. Give that card to somebody who is more sober than you. Tell them to give the number a call, and we'll talk about easing the chokehold on the prices.
Yeah, no, I could do that.
Like, is there like a pen or something like that behind the bar, like a bit of paper?
No, there wouldn't be.
I've been carrying a pen around for 8 days.
Yeah, this is the period where
that's
people would carry their pens.
That's
They would
fair.
carry their pens, but they are
pencils.
fountain pens. Yeah, there'd be pencils. Probably in this establishment.
Yeah.
You could
So
find
yeah,
a
I pick
pencil.
up a pencil or whatever like that from wherever, and I write like on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And I just give it to him with just a note written on it that just says, call number on writing in Gaelic. Call number on card given to you. Talk about bathtub problem. We'll fix drainage soon. And then I give him the note.
Okay, I've been rolling for him, by the way. I just want to point out, to see how useful he would be. So,
not very is what I'm getting from that.
You write it down on the paper, call, etc. And he you hand it over, you slide it over to him, and he takes it and he takes a read. Call. He's it's it's teary. It's Colleen. She left me. Main squeeze. And you can't stop him. He just starts opening up about a lot of really personal interpersonal relationship problems he's having with his girl.
When he starts doing that, Larence's immediate reaction is getting in close, puts an arm around him, makes sure the note is in his waistcoat pocket, and then when he does that, he signals
get out. Get out.
Jebediah, he lets Lena know it's time to go. Signals Jebediah to come over and help because this guy's fucked up.
Yeah, you can't stop him. He just starts going and he doesn't stop. And as soon as Jebediah comes over, Jebediah, she left me. It's okay, all right, buddy. It's just
it's okay, man. It's all right.
It's all right. It's all right. He doesn't even he's just picking him up slightly.
Yeah. As Jebediah comes over, I slip $1 into his pocket. Just all right, here you go. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for the help.
Yeah. He starts essentially carrying this person, half carrying, half pulling him into the back room. And yeah, so that's your. Did he
leave the whiskey there? Did he finish his whiskey?
Oh, he finished it.
Okay, I'll finish mine then, and then I will go.
There was no hesitation. There was no. He took a sip of it, took a sip of his drink, and then as soon as he started getting into it, you just saw him. He, instead of grabbing his drink, which he probably meant to finish, which was just beer, it wasn't anything hard. He just downed the whole whiskey without paying attention.
Yeah,
it's a half second.
I finished mine.
It's a half second where he goes it's some good beer. Puts it down. Essentially. But yeah, that's what barely passing will get you.
It's fair. It's fair.
I'm sorry.
When we get outside, I will change to French and let Lena know I managed to get something out of him. Hopefully he'll sober up enough tomorrow to give us a call. He was not helpful, but at the very least there's some sort of exchange there.
Okay, did you get his name so at least we're getting in?
No. No name was exchanged.
He was fucked up.
Okay.
The only name you got was the fact that his girl named Colleen.
Yeah, his girlfriend's name was Colleen. That's the only thing I say.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the word "call" triggered that memory, and he just lost it, and that's what happened.
Well, if we just call him the Badger Cub, they'll probably know who he is.
Maybe, yeah.
But yeah, that's your night. That's your night. Sorry, I had 3 or 4 options. She just it was barely succeeding. So.
It didn't go well. Dice said
well.
no. Dice said no.
Yeah, Dice said no. Yeah, that is the thing. He also, by the way, he rolled a 1 on his last usefulness check, so that's what happened.
Nice. Nice.
He was rolling straight. He was rolling straight 8s up until that point, and then just a 1. So yeah. How close are we to a break, by the way?
Now.
Now? Okay.
Right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, we should take a break here, and then we'll take up the other part of the group's thing.
Okay, we will be back in 5 to 10 minutes time. Use this time, grab yourself a drink, stretch, and we'll... Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the second half of our glorious game for this evening. Last we left off with our.
We left off at the end of a scene.
Yeah,
We left off at the end of the. I was gonna say face side of the party, but that kind of is an insult. That's an insult to one of them. That's a compliment to one and an insult to another, so it's a neutral compliment at this point.
Sure, let's go with that.
Yeah, it's all mathematical. But yes, you barely succeeded a roll that you had overwhelming odds to succeed.
Sounds like my kind of odds.
Really? That's about the 10th, 12th.
No. You had overwhelming odds.
Yeah. You had what was it? D6, 2 D8s, and a D12, and I think so a D4.
It was a pass of 3, so you just had to get a 4 or above on all of them.
So you had to roll average for half of your dice, and that was fine. But yeah, no,
I only just managed to do it.
yeah, with actually worse because you had to roll double. Because you had to luck on that one. It was bad. Yeah, it was bad.
I am not such a lucky rabbit.
Yeah, apparently.
I keep telling you that's because your foot's still attached.
You need some foot rubs.
We can't talk about feet and anthropomorphic rabbits. We can't do that on the internet. This is bad. We can't do that with this.
Oh, we can.
There's a lot of connotations that we can't bring up here. We don't want that to be that part of Twitch. So
Calm yourselves. God damn it. Calm yourselves.
Yeah. Calm yourselves. So yeah, we finished off with that. You didn't get a lot of information. You found an extremely drunk, dejected individual who was left in charge of a bar, who was just imbibing himself to forget a recent breakup with his lady. And yeah, it didn't work out well. You might have gotten something in the future. You provided not only your card but also a handwritten note to him. Physically placed it in his pocket so he couldn't.
It's all right, buddy. It's all right. As I slide notes into his jacket pocket.
Yeah. But we ended off there. And we'll end off that's a whole night. That's the thing. That's the end of the night. And the rest of the party, you're prepping because tomorrow you've blocked out your schedule. You're going to inspect and kind of like double check all the arrangements for the upcoming grand opening of the Tricogha. Yeah, fucking municipal airport. Because it's not international. It's a municipal airport. But it's the only one the city's going to have it. They don't have one yet. Right now, the only air travel that comes into the city is to a Great War era essential like aerodrome kind of field. It's about a half hour's drive out of the city limits in like just a strip of land. So that's not going to work. So that's why the city's having this made. So, and it's only a month away from being finished according to the contractors. So, it's well over budget and it's overtime by about a year, but that's pretty good for, for construction work, most of the time.
Construction work in the 20s.
Oh no, 20s. Well, that's unfair. In the 20s, like those guys it was mostly because there was absolutely no safety measures at all. So they were just like, oh, Harry fall off. Okay, send 2 more up and get his job done today.
Yeah, it's
kind of thing. Yeah. So like that's
How many people died while building the Empire State Building? Quite a lot.
Way too many for a building that, all honesty, I don't think it does much right now. I think it's
Fun fact. I learned in my health and safety thing that when the Empire State Building was being built, that was really the start of health and safety and code laws in construction. And they introduced a system of bidding, wherein part of your bid was how many workers you expected to die per floor on average. And the Empire State Building went in with 2. They expected 2 men per floor would die on average, and they were the lowest bidders in terms of death per floor.
So but weren't they? They were also They also like didn't succeed on that at all. If I remember.
Well,
correctly.
yes, you're right there, but also they played
Yeah.
the game a bit in that if you fell outside the site's boundaries, you
Oh,
did
yeah,
not
didn't-
count as a
you-
death on
Yeah.
site. So a lot of boys who fell from the building and died on site were
Well, that's
kind
a
of
joke.
dragged
That's
They
a
were
outside.
told. They were told.
That's a joke. They were told aim for the aim for the street. Because if
Yeah,
you're not
it
on the,
they were told to aim for the sidewalk.
yeah, because then your family will get all your benefits. It will get all the benefits if you fall outside. That was the thing. Yeah, no. Fuck. United States in the 1920s was horrible. Like it's fucking horrible. Let's be the 1920s.
Yeah,
imagine that.
Imagine that being part of the contract that you're saying that it's a good thing that you're expecting only 2 people to die per
Yeah.
floor.
Yeah.
Also, let's be honest, America hasn't improved much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. It's
Anyway.
improved in some space. Like it's
Moving
kind of like a
on,
net.
moving
It's
on
net
before
neutral.
we're
Yeah.
the whole kettle of worms here.
Yeah,
I'm
can we
gonna-
save this for the politics podcast, please?
True,
That still hasn't gone off the ground.
Yeah.
So you prep that. You send off a couple of like you send a notice out from your office, like on your letterhead to the site. It's a very short notice, which is, however they're going to view that. But you get all that. What were you gonna say?
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm prepping for that already.
Yeah. So you get all that ready. You get your you make sure that your vehicle is ready for tomorrow, all that kind of stuff. Like it's kind of like a thing. You get everything laid out. And then night passes. Since you're all prepping for that, unless anybody has any specific things to do before that, or you're prepping something for that, just skip time. And it's the morning, Sunday, which is funny enough. That's one of the few days where no work's going on Sundays at the site. That's the day that the workers get off for this. Well, most of them. Anybody who volunteers, they work on Sundays, but it's a lot less than normal. And yeah, you actually haven't been out to the site, Alderman Jack. It's not it's a thing you were told about that's happening, and it's like been on your calendar since you got the job, but you haven't been out here and looked. And what you see is, if you look at the map, you see that like L shape that comes off of the thing. That like where the L shape starts from Harrison's Bluff, that is the road out to the airfield or to the airport, and then that whole like L is the property, not necessarily the construction, but that's the property where it's being built onto. It's actually very forward. You've been told you were there for a lot of briefings and people like talking about it and everything. It's one of the first airports that's being made with expansion in mind. So they have like a whole bunch of extra space to put more more runways in and everything. I think they said theoretical we could have 8 runways in a line, and it's good, like that kind of stuff. If we're talking about comparing it today, the runways are fairly short, but you can have a lot like side by side is kind of the thing. But yeah, and much like during that period, you go out there and you're led into past the fencing. There's like a little guard post, like security that's there, and they just kind of wave you through. It's middle of the day. They got to keep it open for like trucks bringing in materials and stuff. And you can see right now, it looks like the primary thing going on is they're pouring the second runway's concrete and asphalt, and they're pouring that right now. They've already leveled it, so you can just see like this. It's weird because you go from a city that's fairly like undulatory in terms of like its level. Like there's a lot of hills and stuff like on the coast, and it isn't as flat like as you get closer to the lakes. This place is like one of the few places that's a flat plain, and you can just see past that farm fields. And this place specifically is like, it looks like it's been raised like a foot or two and then flattened off the top, and that's like where the runways are at. they're pouring that. There's a couple of terminals off to the side. And funny enough, there is like a plane at one of the terminals. This is like it's not open for public transportation yet, but you do know the city is bringing in some mail before it officially opens. Because it's either that or bring it in at the aerodrome, and they got truck it in. So that's what you see so far. There's 2 terminals, one runway that's currently in operation, another one that's being poured right now. About, I'd say, if you cared enough, there's probably like 100 workers currently on site, but it's spread across a large area. There's maybe like 20, 25 working on the runway, and the rest are doing other jobs. Some are putting siding on, or they're doing a lot of like small jobs, like getting things together. And the last big project you think is just that last runway. Once that's done, poured, and certified, this place looks pretty good, like to go. What's your itinerary when you come in here?
Okay. So I'm guessing Roman was counting the workforce. So I'm
assuming it comes up at some point.
Introduce to myself whoever's in charge today. I'm gonna be bluffing for as long as I can and seeing as much thing whilst the inspection is where. I want to be doing things like, so we've got ideas of like where we're gonna put like where the opening's gonna happen, and like an itinerary for the day where we're gonna be like parking people's cars, and what time the press can get there, and like I also gonna say, we've got some ideas to actually have the first official flight land at the end of the ceremony. We're gonna time it to that. Like I'm just gonna go off on one.
Yeah, actually, what kind of happens, because you've sent a word ahead, and essentially the on-site foreman, I guess the equivalent, I don't know, a manager, I don't know parlance of this, foreman, yeah. He is accompanied by the representative of the construction contractor that has been sent short notice here to meet you. So like it's equivalent of you're both dressed in very fine suits. Like there's a working class guy that's like an upper class working, like upper working class. Like he's the boss, but he's still like somebody who knows what's going on. Like that foreman, like he looks like a foreman that's come up. And then somebody who hasn't done this but is in charge technically, and you just start going back and forth with the company's representative, and he's like, essentially he's presenting you, okay, here's what we have planned here. Like he has like a rollout on it, he puts it on a desk like covering blueprints, and starts showing you like, okay, here's where we're gonna have the stands, here's where we're putting the press and everything like that. And you just start going back and forth with this guy, and you can stretch this out. Like there's no problem here. Well, actually, no. I will say that. Give me a roll, and we'll see just how well you can stretch this out. Sure. But I'm saying I'm going to say it's a low DC.
I also want to specifically use this to go introduce. This is the hired representative by the council, and I'm going to be so apologetic to Lena. I'm sorry it's such a short notice that we're bringing you all the way out here, but the council wanted these checks to be surprised, and with everything going on in the city at the moment, you completely understand it. Like, kind of fluff it. And I'm just basically using this time to push Harry out the door to, like, get him to go
sniff around.
Go sniff around. Okay. And I'm sure Roman will also keep an eye on things.
Just a specific here with how you're trying to frame this. Is it more so you're sneaking in that bit about Roman and Neville quickly, and then pivoting directly to something else, just so he doesn't have time to like question
Roman's
it?
Not leaving the Alderman.
Roman's not leaving.
Oh, you're not. Okay, then Neville. Then Harry's. Are you?
I'm knitting the information. I'm knitting the information about Harry's purpose here in with the conversation and my long form discussion.
Then I would say
give it longevity, sort of.
To give it longevity. Okay, I'll say that's a mind check. Mind deceit. Okay. It was, if you were trying to just sneak it in quickly, it would have been like a speed deceit, because you were trying to just get it in there, like, you know.
Both would have been the same for me.
Okay.
Because this is such a long form conversation, would I be allowed to waive diplomacy as well? My gift of diplomacy.
Actually, yes. I will say diplomacy is weighable here. Yes. I'll say that.
So mind.
We may want the. Oh, by the way, DC's 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Deceit.
Okay, it's 1, and you got a D12. Okay, 2. Okay. Just feel like, God, you guys are rolling like
That
shit
dice
tonight.
like flipped around and oh boy,
that is bad. Okay.
I had a high
You get
chance of that and almost fluffed it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Actually, that's the same exact.
Welcome
chances
to my world.
Yeah, those were the same dice that Red was rolling.
I
That
don't
was a
have
D6,
luck.
2 D8s, and a D12. Wow, that's bad. Yeah. Okay. So you see this one's kind of more just a pass-fail state because you're just trying to get him going for a long time, and by the sheer nature of diplomacy, you have to talk for a long time to get it through. So yeah, he doesn't question it. You see, like, the foreman is like he like eyes Harry a bit, but not enough to, like, he's not questioning it. He's just like, let's get this over with, because he's more like he's more like, I gotta manage people. Like, let's get this going, and, like, you know, kind of thing. So yeah, Harry, just say, like, you stay for like a minute or two, and then you're like, okay, now, like, you've like a courtesy stay for just a minute, just like acknowledging the fact that these two are very important individuals, but then you have a job to do, so you leave. Go back there. How is Harry? You are officially, like, you've been introduced to, like, to the people that are in charge here, that this is your job. But are you, like, taking, like, a prop or anything to, like, make it seem like you have business, like a notepad or something?
Clipboard.
Yeah, he's got a clipboard.
I just don't have the high vis.
Yeah.
It's the clipboard and the high vis.
I'm not sure the high vis existed in.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Oh no, they
Hard
didn't
hats don't even
Yeah.
exist yet.
Yeah, no, it's
They're not going to be existent until the Hoover Dam, or at least in America, they won't exist until the Hoover Dam, when people start tarring baseball caps
This is
together.
the 1920s. High vis, if you got in the way of a truck, you were in the wrong. So, like, that's the mindset back then. So yeah, okay. So yeah, you've got, like, I don't think a clipboard. No, clipboards did exist. They were just different. Yeah,
it'd be pencil rather than pen.
Yeah. So you have a clipboard with, like, some paper on it. You're just like, are you going straight to where you know the operation is, or are you taking your time to give yourself, like, an air of, like,
I'll take a little bit of time for two reasons. One,
Okay.
to give myself a legitimate thing, legitimate air, and two, because I'm actually going to look for proper security flaws, and I might exploit them at a later date
Okay. If
for
that's the case,
personal
then-
use.
Yeah. No. Totally. I'll say this is
You're
casing.
putting a thief into the situation where he could figure out, hey, could I steal stuff coming through this airport? Like, damn.
Yeah. So that's definitely casing the airport. So if you have something for that, I don't know if you have a check for that. I know there is something in the game
I've
for
got
casing
personality
coins, but-
greedy. I've got sabotage. I've got sleight of hand. Nah, I think the closest thing would be greedy, but I'm not really leveraging my personality here.
Yeah, that wouldn't really work. But I will say this: you can use your mind observation. I'd say mind observation. Right, like going through here. And this one doesn't necessarily have a DC. We're gonna see how high you go. Oh wow, okay, it's not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad. I'll say you spend like a half hour before you like looking around, going around, walking around. Nobody really gives you any, like, second. Like, they see you come up, and, like, there's always that, like, a half second of, who's this? Oh, they've got a clipboard. All right, go back to work. Because when you say you look like you're supposed to be there, it's not that people don't question. It's that they just don't give a shit enough to question you. Like, you look good enough that at a cursory glance, it's just fine. and they go right back. And you also technically, they know somebody is supposed to be out here, or at least like mid-level workmen know there's somebody supposed to be out here checking things. So like, even if there's like a few people that are going like, what's that? Somebody eventually goes like, get back to work. Yeah, he's doing something. Get back to work. And then you go.
Who are you waving at, Dad? Dad? What's wrong? Push talk. Push talk.
Yeah.
I was waving. He was there. He was standing in the doorway. I was waving to him.
Yeah, he's
So, I just didn't want to keep going.
long
with
past
you
his
after-
bedtime. So
Yeah, I didn't want to keep going without you being able to totally listen.
Yeah,
So
no, that's cool. That's cool.
I suppose. But yeah, no, there's at a certain point, like, somebody might.
hold on.
Oh,
Yeah, he's just trying to close the door so that our talking
alright.
doesn't interrupt him, which is totally legit.
Yeah. So, like there might be a couple people, but they know you're supposed to be there, so it kind of just moves. Like you move along fairly quickly. From what you can tell in terms of security flaws that might be able to be exploited, this, like the airport has a fence around it, but the fence is. It's a fair distance away from any major buildings or anything like that. And definitely on like the top side, if you came around from like the north, there's like a good quarter mile from like a security, like from the security house that's like at the gate. Or if you go like the opposite end, like there's a full mile in terms of like lateral distance that has to go there, which would be pretty easy maybe at night for somebody to just like hop a fence or like cut in through the fence and just walk, using the terminals to block line of sight to the guard shack, and you could just get to the terminals. So I mean that's bad. Like they probably would want like to have another guard check on the opposite side of the airport, but it doesn't look like they're going to put that in. So security's not their primary concern right now. And it doesn't look like the terminal, not the terminals. It doesn't look like there's a few hangars that are probably going to at some point store planes. It doesn't look like the doors to those hangars have locks. Like, not the, what am I saying? Not the, like the big, what's the word for it? Like the big
Hangar?
Yeah, the hangar door. Rival. Not the big like hangar doors, but like the small like individual like for a singular person doors. Doesn't look like they have locks on them. Yeah, personnel doors. Doesn't look like they have locks on them at all. They're just there.
So the doors with the big expensive aircraft inside do not have locks.
Doesn't look like it. No. Now whether or not the aircraft themselves
people.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's 1920s. It's 1920s. Not only is the amount of people who know how to fly very low, but the amount of individuals who know how to fly and are also criminals. that's like a Venn diagram that's like got 4 people in it. So it's like, yeah.
Also, that implies people locked their door in the 1920s.
Oh, in the city they definitely did. Yeah, in America as well.
I remember back in the day when I didn't even need a locked door in the front house when I left. I don't know why.
That's a very rural thing, and that was never true. Nobody ever trusted their neighbors.
Listen, I don't trust myself.
Yeah, no, yeah. But yeah, you spend like a half hour going around checking that. You get fairly close to a couple of work details. I'm gonna say what you're supposed to be doing in terms of like keeping the illusion going up. So you probably like spend a few minutes just standing like 20 or 30 feet away from a work detail, and every so often just like writing gibberish down on a clipboard and like looking at them, which totally works, but also gives them like super bad anxiety, like because they're just like looking back at you as they're working, like.
Oh
but
yeah,
it
that's
sells it.
totally good when you're training somebody, and it's like,
Yeah.
that's what you're going to put, is it? Yeah. You think that's right?
Yes.
Well, now I don't.
No, the worst one is like you do something and you look back towards the person training you, and they just like go down and they write something down on a clipboard and look back up. So then you're just like.
0% feedback.
Yeah,
It's the worst,
it's a
isn't it?
poker face. It's just a poker face, and you're just like, I don't know what. It's good, bad. I don't.
There's a
It's
reason
really
why.
good because you can use that because they ain't go into full anxiety mode, and if they still do a good job, and then you hand it back to the boss, it's just like this person's fucking excellent at what they do. Don't ever
Yeah.
fire them, and they're like,
Yeah.
glowing
It could.
review.
Yeah. So you do that like a little bit, which essentially is you're just kind of fucking with these workers, but it sells it for them. They don't want to interact with you. After the second time you do that, you're assuming like some people from other work details are going to mingle with other work details, and they know. Like as soon as you start, you get close to one of them, they just like heads down, they're just working. They're just working, and they're not, and it totally works.
I have the power
Of a
At that-
clipboard.
At the clipboard. At that point, you start going towards like the southwest part of the property. The southwest part is, if I'm gonna draw it, like there's like think 2 lines going straight down, terminals on the right side, which is on so essentially going straight north-south runways. On the east side of those 2 runways, there's 2 terminals. They're together, like freestanding terminals that you would walk out of to go and get board a plane directly, because they don't do that. And then car park below those terminals. Road goes at a 45 diagonal, and then hooks east directly. But at the other side, like at the diagonal portion of that road on the south side of it, like the southwest side, is a collection of about 4 warehouses that are not well made. You immediately recognize that. These were put up, like, this is like the equivalent of like a prefab. Like these were put up in a few days. Like equivalency. This, I say, Harry's probably been on a work site or 2. You may be a thief by trade, but you probably have done work at some point in your life. You've done some manual labor at some point in your life. These are storage buildings. These were made specifically like the lumber and the brick and stuff like that. They didn't want that out in the middle of like northern Midwest weather for a prolonged period of time. So this puts a roof over their heads. Nobody's really out here in the numbers that they're in other places, but you definitely see people who look like workers who every so often might go in and they take and there's like a box that they bring out, and you do see, because again, you have a long time. So if you want to take this, are you taking this slowly, or are you immediately trying to get into to a building? Are you kind of like just doing an observation? Because you did say you were casing, so I don't want to put words in, or I don't want to put actions for you that you didn't want to take.
I can take my time.
Take your time. Okay, so you notice there are some people that go into those buildings and they'll come out with a box and they will go to a work detail, and they'll take things out of the box. Like they'll just have, it'll be bricks, or it'll be it'll be finishing lumber or siding or something like that. Like it's still being used for storage, from what you can tell. Like it doesn't look like it's been abandoned. It just looks like this isn't as important. Like a lot of the things are already out of these buildings. But because you're because you have a very good eye and you've been there for a while, you do see a few people that go in, take a box out, and it goes onto a truck in the car park. And maybe after an hour, you see a truck leave. Nothing comes off the truck, it just leaves. And then a few minutes later, a truck that looks just like a normal truck. Like, you wouldn't be out of place. It doesn't have markings on it, but it doesn't look out of place here. Parks. And then the people in there will go and they'll be like mingling around the truck, like maybe looking like they're fixing it or something, but you can tell from kind of a distance they're not doing anything. They look like it's a maintenance kind of on the truck, but they're not taking parts out. They're not tightening anything really. It's just hood's open and they're looking busy. And you'll see a couple of people go out to the truck. And you only get about that far in, like, I'll say like an hour. Like an hour with the 30 minutes of pre-casing, like just the general scene, if you can steal from this place a bit. So you spend about a half hour just observing this part, because you were told this is an operation. And you can tell, like, if you spent like a couple hours, you could probably see a couple of trucks would leave here loaded with something. And this is still on the property. Like, this is within the fence. So you do have the authority to go in.
Well, at this point, yeah, I'm going to go in.
Okay.
I've sold the illusion enough.
Sold the illusion. Are you being stealthy? Or are you walking in with authority?
Walking in with authority, but not looking like I'm going to nose into the goods. I'm going to appear more interested in the building rather than the boxes.
Okay. Well, you have a perfect excuse, because one of those buildings, it's got a big like rusty section along the siding of one of them. Like, it looks like it's something was probably a rain gutter fell, and it's just been like rain's just been going straight onto the siding instead of being kind of directed elsewhere, which gives you the perfect opportunity to get close. So you spend like a few minutes, like, you got a clipboard and you're looking at the building, and you kind of like, you're writing things down on the clipboard, and you kind of like, kick the side a little bit, just kind of looks like you're inspecting it. And eventually you can go inside without, like, to check and see what the integrity of the interior's like. Can this building be used again? And what you see on the inside, this is you're walking in with authority. Let me just roll. There's 4 buildings, so I'm just gonna check. Okay. So you go into the building. I'm saying you have enough authority. You're confident in yourself. You go into the building they've been going in the most of. Nobody's there right now. It's been a little bit before you've seen somebody come in or go out. So you go into one of those buildings, that building specifically, which is in like the top right-hand corner of this collection of 4. They're in a 2x2 kind of square. So you go to the top right building and enter, and you can see it's mostly empty. Like, the floor space here, there's almost nothing in this warehouse. Like, you can see there used to be rows of pallets and things here, because there's like dust, like that hasn't accumulated as much in certain sites. You can see the outline of like where like a big load of bricks were at some point, or things like that. Like, this has definitely been used for storage for like a year or two while this place is being made. But most of it's empty. Like, they've been using everything that was shipped here, and they haven't restocked it because they're almost done. And you see like a collection of pallets in a corner. Nobody else is in this building.
There's a collection of pallets, no one else. What about boxes and stuff like that? Because pallets, I'm assuming you mean, are just the empty pallets.
Oh, no, I meant, well, there is that.
I work in construction, so there's what I understand as pallets are just the wooden things you put boxes on top of.
Yeah, no. There is a collection of just empty pallets that have just been stacked or just thrown into a corner. But there is a section that are loaded pallets that look to have boxes on them. Just like, not a lot, but like...
Is there anything about the building itself that I might pick up that I could, use if someone's like, why are you in here? And I could like immediately point out, hey, this thing.
Well, this is a new area, so I will need a new mind observation check to see if you can spot something, because you haven't... That was for the general area, so... Jesus. Okay, hey!
Someone's rolling well.
Somebody rolled well. 3 successes. Actually, yes. You can see a few things, actually. One of the doors has a bend in the bottom corner of it, like not the side with the hinges, but it's just like so it's got a little open air going through it. Probably something hit it at some point, and it's so cheap it doesn't matter, and nobody's replaced it. Like this little like sheet metal door, and there's also like a couple of broken light bulbs in certain areas, and definitely a few dings along the bottom side of the walls. You know, like nothing bad and like nothing major, but I mean, if you've been in a warehouse, you know, somebody's gonna hit something. Somebody's gonna like not necessarily a forklift would have existed back then. Actually, no, I think there were forklifts. I'm not sure, but there would have been hand carts or something like that. But you know, if something gets away from somebody, it's gonna hit a wall and it's gonna leave a pretty bad ding or something like that. There are a couple of those. You have enough in that area that you could theoretically like say like, oh no, I was just checking integrity if we can reuse this building, or if this can be just like hammered out or something like that. You could definitely make an excuse for those.
All right, I'm gonna check out the boxes.
Okay, so you go over, and what you see is cardboard boxes weren't as big of a thing in 1920s. These are mostly wooden boxes that vary between good sturdy wooden boxes for transporting like important things to plywood crap boxes that are just used to move something without easily in like in a packaged format. like it runs the gambit. There doesn't seem to be organization here, but there are a few that have tops that have the nails taken out and they're open. And if just want to check on here. Okay. You check the boxes and you open, like you lift one of the lids. You can see, yeah, these are equal mixes of things for this work site and alcohol. Like maybe a quarter. What you get a sense of, maybe a quarter of what's in this little corner is alcohol. And it's what you can see, it's Harry knows expensive alcohols, but not necessarily, but you know cheap shit. Like you know that this is that. Like this is stuff somebody made in a barn. Like, you know, they had extra corn for a harvest and they made, you know, corn whiskey or something like that, or you know, something like that on a still. It's nothing this definitely isn't imported from somewhere else that makes actual alcohol, but this is country alcohol. You can tell that because these labels are like XXX, like, you know, just cheap stuff, but it's definitely something that's made. Like, I'm trying to like, you know, there's a difference between something that I'm going to bottle as quickly as possible because it's not going anywhere and it's just going to be like, it's going down the street and it doesn't need to be like that big. These are packaged in like bottles that are cheap but sturdy, like or like jugs that are cheap but sturdy. Like yeah, you get what I mean. Like these are.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
They're not fancy jugs, but they do the job.
They do the job, and they're not going to break on you, which implies that somebody expected these things to travel. So that's what you see, and most of them are that. Most of them are that. If you like pop a cork and you take a smell, it's cheap alcohol. Like it's not great, but it works. Like it works. And there's cool. Yeah, like I said, about a quarter of what's on these pallets is that.
All right, cool. I'm gonna start making my way back to the boss. On the way, I want to find the nearest work. On the way, I want to find the nearest work detail and point out a few things.
Okay, well, before that happens, you go to leave. I've been rolling dice just to see what's going on outside. As you get most of the way to the exit to the personnel exit of this warehouse, because there's a large, like, you know, garage door essentially exit to get pallets in and out of. But you go to the personnel door, and as your hand is like on this like just solid door, and you're about ready to open it. The door opens as somebody else opens the door, and there's a good couple of beats where it's just like, oh, sorry. And he like steps out of the way for you to leave. Individual doesn't look dirty. Doesn't look like he's well dressed, but you notice he doesn't look dirty.
I'm not going to make any remarks on that, but I'm going to do something here. Oh, good. Finally, someone I can speak to. You weren't on any work details around here? Just doing inspections around the buildings. Nothing too major. Don't worry. It's nothing too major, but a couple of things I just need fixed up for it.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, it's, I'm just a workman. You might want to,
Yeah, no. That's the perfect guy that I need. Don't worry, I'll be talking to Foreman as well. As I said, it's just a couple of minor things. Light bulbs here that have gone out. Bad idea to leave them blown out like that. Just give them a bit of a replacing for us, yeah? And over there, more importantly, there's a big bleeding hole in that door in the corner where it's been bent up. You know what that'll do? That'll let the weather in and it'll warp all this wood that's in here. And we don't really want any warping in the wood when it does it, because it means we're going to have to buy some more. Bit of a waste of cash, ain't it?
No, sir.
So if you can get them sorted out, we're going to have ourselves a cushy time. Other than that, building looks pretty good. A few dents, but what warehouse doesn't get a few dents in its lifetime, huh?
Yeah.
All right, carry on the good work. I'll see you. I'll be back in about a week to check on things getting fixed up. Good
Okay,
lad.
hold on. Just give me a second here. I just need to roll something here.
This guy's poor brain.
Yeah, no, this guy looks incredibly uncomfortable. You know immediately he doesn't know what you're talking about because he doesn't do this. He's not like you can tell he's been sent here to pick up the other stuff that's in here, and you unload on him. He's in a costume essentially, and you just get
two guys in costume. One did his homework, the other didn't.
Yeah, essentially. Yep. Yes, exactly. Yep. Exactly. He didn't prepare for this.
Reads in improv class is what this is.
Yeah, no, he can't yes and he's just like he defaults to very deferential of you, and he's just like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll get right to that, sir. Yes, sir. And as you walk past him, it takes like a minute, and he's like, you can tell he's looking at you from behind, but not like in like a suspicious way. It's just like he's waiting for you to figure out he's bullshitting you. It's kind of what's going on.
Oh, I knew.
Yeah.
But I don't care.
You know. Yeah. He's like, did it work? Oh, thank God. like that's the kind of like, you can tell that's what happened.
Just bullshitting each other and just
yeah. And you successfully did it because you went in with authority. He didn't expect to meet anybody out here. So yeah, you leave, and I'm gonna say it's no problem. You find him. You can find a foreman. Every work detail's got somebody that's managing it, and you can do the same rigmarole, giving them like yeah, we need this. This needs done. This needs done. And legitimately, the foreman you go to, he takes out a pen and paper, like a pen and notepad, and he starts writing it down. And he goes like, yeah, okay, yeah, we'll get that done. It's just a hole in the door, okay. And he's actually you've legitimately helped him in his job, because it's actually it's actionable information.
He turns around to the rest of the group. And he's like, "Which of you dumb motherfuckers didn't notice the hole in the door?"
Yeah, yeah. Essentially, he gets there, and he writes it down. He says, "Thanks. Yeah, we'll get on that. Definitely get the light bulbs replaced. That can be. We'll just get a ladder. We'll get that done today."
Yeah.
And,
Excellent. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I'm not too worried about the dinks in the building. They're all pretty minor. I mean, what warehouse doesn't get them? You know, it happens. But other than that, it looks pretty sound. As long as you get them things done, then yeah, we're gonna call this good. Good.
All right, good. And he writes that down. And he's okay. I'll get this to the site manager. And he rips the paper out, puts the notepad back. He folds that, and so I'll get that today. And he goes back to his job. You gave him information. that'll go back there, and yeah, you can head back, and Jack and the representative of the company are still talking. The conversation has not stopped. I'm gonna say grand total that was probably an hour and a half. Hour and a half of you like taking a half hour to do that and an hour to do everything else because you took more cautious approach initially.
Yeah, I continue with like as he comes in is like I'm sorry that I have bombarded you today. I saw this note.
No, you brought up good points. Like,
I saw
you're
the
right.
time as well. The with the council inspection. I just thought we should amalgamate these
you're
meetings
right.
and.
You're right. Having those stands there. I mean, they're just going to be facing the sun at that point in time. So yeah, rotating them. That's great. Yeah, we're going to definitely do that. And it's like, again, the funny thing is, while this is totally a bullshit like mission to gather information, you have legitimately helped the not only the site but the ceremony you will be taking place in. Like
two birds, one stone.
Yeah, like you legitimately you pointed out and you figured out like the way they had those stands set up.
Bullshit's helpful too. It's a very good manure.
So I'm thinking we once I'll give my speech, we'll open up, and then I'm thinking we get we've booked the police band, and I'm thinking they come out with some Star Spangled Banner as the first plane lands, and it'll be a beautiful moment.
Oh
for the
yeah, that's great. That's good. Yeah. Said they're writing it down. I'm like, that's good. Yeah, the police band. I didn't know they had a band. All right, yeah.
Just to let you know, Harry's going to give the old knowledgeable nod to not the company representative, but the foreman guy who's come up as a kind of, I'm done now, I'm back kind of thing. In case he wants to, quietly speak to the side to see the results.
Okay, yeah.
Because he's someone who looks like he actually knows what he's doing and would be the person that I would go to.
Yeah, the last hour and a half has been insufferable to him.
Jack is going insane.
Yeah. Roman and this guy, you have absolutely nothing in common other than your hatred of you have to be here. You are contractually obligated to be next to each of your people. But yeah, he looks like he's done with it. He's like, I have a job to do. Why couldn't this be in an office?
So do I.
Yeah.
Roman's just wishing he had sent Larence on protection duty today. He's like, But
yeah, you give a nod, and yeah, he gives the nod, and he's like, for a split second, the mask cracks, and he is thankful that you are giving him an out to leave earshot of this conversation, because it's just two people complimenting each other insufferably and also talking about things. It's back and forth, and it's like, it's politician and it's a politician and a company face talking.
It's two politicians.
It's two politicians. Well, yeah, essentially, but only one of them has actual power. Figure out which one. It's America.
The company guy.
Yeah. But yeah, the foreman goes off to the side.
I don't know. I'm a lawyer as well.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
That just means people want to kill you twice as much.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
The foreman goes off to the side. We don't have to go over it again, but yeah, and if you tell him like the stuff about the warehouses, give me a mind observation check. The most useful check in the game.
Oof, only one.
Okay, well, yeah, but that one was a 6. So you notice when you start mentioning that you checked like the warehouse is off to the corner, it's not overtly noticeable. This guy's a long time working man. He knows when he knows how to like hide a lot of things, but you can see there's a little bit of uncomfortableness. You get a guess, maybe he knows what's going on, at least partially, in there. Maybe he's going to kick back or something. There's some reason he knows and it's not been addressed. But he takes your like suggestions and tries, okay, yeah, no, we'll get that done. Yeah, we'll get the door replaced. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, he there's a little bit of uncomfortableness, right back to work. And he takes your suggestions. You even had a couple of things else there. Like, I'm assuming you remember some of the work detail. He goes, oh, that one's doing good. That one's doing good. And like, oh, this, the side of this building probably needs a retouch or something like that. Just random comments and criticisms. And he takes it. He's remembering it. And you can sense like he doesn't need to write it down. He's remembering it in his head. He's been a foreman for 20 years. He knows all this stuff. He just needs to catalog it in his head. And you go through that. Once that's done, there's a way. Let's say there's ways you can like non-verbally like indicate to the alderman that okay, we're done. We got everything done.
He'd probably like nod to Roman, and Roman would have a.
Yeah, there are ways without
to get me
Alderman,
out.
we have that meeting with the mayor's office at 2:00.
You're right. Of course.
Oh my God! I didn't mean to keep you so long. I'm sorry. I'm
I'm terrible for yammering on. This has been a very productive day. Thank
you've
you
been
again for
enjoying.
coming out on short notice, and yeah.
Yeah. Essentially, yeah. He's deferential, but and just comment. It's like it takes another 5 minutes for you guys to leave because of that. Yeah. Yeah. So I'd say grand total that you spent about like 2 hours, like maybe 2.5 hours total there, just back talking and observing and everything.
Which I can say with personal experience in real life is about right for someone like an inspector or a client to come around about a couple of hours. It's about right.
Yeah, no, I know. Because even though I was a marketing guy, I had to inspect things for the company. Like I had to inspect to see if I didn't know about walk-in freezers, but I had to check and see if it was working. Like I have no qualifications, but I have to say, yeah, it's cold in here.
Running.
Essentially, I had to walk in and it was going like, yeah, it feels like it's below freezing. All right. And mark that down on a sheet. It's like
takes time, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, because you have to go to the guy on site and you have to say like, okay, I need access to your freezer, and I need to check that. And then he goes like, okay, I gotta check with your boss to see if you're legit that you have access to this. And it's a lot of back and forth because they never called ahead. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Bureaucracy shit. So yeah, couple hours spent there. You got the information you got. You can provide that information and take your own conclusions there. And I will say that's gonna be worth 5 completion points on your extended task right there. That is like a big boon to this task, which you had 8 initially out of 15. So you're really close.
Since their meeting is happening the next day after our interaction with the Donaldson rep,
Yeah.
I assume he hasn't sobered up enough yet.
Nobody's called you.
Yeah.
Nobody's called you. So if you just want to spend a time like waiting and or if you want to spend time like doing more, try and figure stuff out, you can. Or if you just want to wait to get the information, like wait for them to get back and kind of figure out where you're at total.
Yeah, I think we can wait for them to get back, because once they get back, we can like coalesce their information, and maybe in the intervening time, we'll get a phone call.
So yeah, I'll say there's nobody, like you don't know, no adverse things happen. Drive back to your home, to your on the Green Row, and you can info dump the rest of your unit, gang, I don't know, outfit,
Crew.
crew. Crew or outfit, yeah, both work. So yeah, you have information. You know Donaldson's are storing alcohol at the municipal airport, and the alcohol that they have, there's not a lot of it, and it's in like earthen jugs.
Do we? Oh, because the Donaldsons are running the site and it's their territory.
Yep.
The Donaldsons are using the site. They don't own the municipal airport.
But they're using it, so we know for sure it's them.
Yeah, no, you know, because Roman figured out where their major operations were, and Roman, he rolled fairly well last week. he was able to figure out the Donaldson, at least a significant number of the larger Donaldson operations, and this was one of them. Tracked a Donaldson back there, figured out they were moving stuff in and out of the airport.
So we think, as a group, we think it's the Donaldson.
No, it's the Turners, I think.
No, that's what Roach was saying, Mikey. The alcohol is on Donaldson.
Yeah, but it's
There's-
cheap
there's
homemade
the-
stuff. The stuff that that Baron was complaining about was good quality stuff. It wasn't being made in like a bathtub
Yeah,
somewhere. and
the
shipped away.
stuff that's flooding the market. Do we have a description of what that comes like?
The way you were told about this is the reason it's a problem is that it's local made in the city, and that means it's cheap. Nobody has to cover transport costs for this stuff.
Which means it's not this then, because it's been shipped here.
It's
being shipped
made here and it's used here, which means it's very cheap and it's flooding the market, which means everybody else is being driven out because they're importing most of their stuff. Every gang has a little bit of an operation in the city. They make some stuff in here, but most of the good stuff comes the wheelwrights come from Canada. The Donaldsons seem to be getting it from farmers that are making not great, but cheap corn whiskey, things like that. The Blue Boys seem to be getting their stuff from downriver, probably maybe all the way down from the south or something like that. And they have a network that brings it up here, stuff like that.
Because everyone else is dry, and it was not a huge amount that the Donaldsons had stored and everything. We deduce it's the Turners then.
If you want me to give you what you know about each gang so far, since it's been a month,
Yeah,
so I could give you bullet points.
Because then
Okay.
we need
The
to
bullet
work out
points, if you
how we're
would.
gonna,
I'll give you the bullet points. Okay. So so what you figured out so far in bullet points is one, Mr. Baron is a part of the wheelwrights, and the wheelwrights are the ones that are essentially commissioning you to try and figure out what's going on here. You did check on them still, and it does look like they're not flush with product, but it would make sense given the fact that you just worked out a way for them to get things in cheaper, because you basically gave them an in at a major river or a major lake port, that it would get in cheaper because now they don't need to have as much protection on the product. So take from that what you will. The Blue Boys are very hostile. They're the ones that are primarily starting to go out and attack because they probably have, you infer, given the fact that they're coming up from the river and it takes a long time and a long distance to get anywhere on a river, they probably have the largest cost overhead of their alcohol. And they're very hostile right now. They're attacking wheelwright establishments. They're attacking just other establishments that it seems they think are the people doing this. And so they're very hostile. Whatever you infer from that, whatever you will. That's what you got. The 9th Street, I don't think you got a lot on them. But they're also kind of fighting, but they're more direct against the Blue Boys. It's basically kind of turned into a turf gang war between the two of them. It's turned into early 1920s stuff going on right now. The Donaldsons, you just figured out, they seem to be bringing their stuff in from external, not just from the municipal airport, but not Rivalon, but Roman.
Flashbacks.
Roman, flashbacks. Roman did see not only the municipal airport, but he observed one of their larger warehouses that's being used by just a warehouse, storage house on the edge of the city. And it seems most of their it's pretty even with stuff coming in on cars you recognized over spending a couple of days watching this location, because there's only a certain number of cars they have. So you can start noticing which ones are which of ones coming in and leaving. So it seems that's pretty neutral in that sense, in coming and going from there. And you see the municipal airport, they have a store of alcohol there that they're moving out of the municipal airport. You don't know how they got it in there, but I would say you're all smart enough. There are flights coming into the airport from the postal service. So,
the USPS.
yeah, from the postal service, And if there's one place where you can definitely bribe somebody, it's a low-level government employee.
Hello.
So, yeah. So you got that. And for the Turner gang, you did a lot of observations, but you didn't get a lot of information on them. I think that was one of your failures. Was you didn't get a lot of information on the Turner gang. But it does seem like they're quiet. They're not fighting the Blue Boys or the 9th Street, even though some of their territory butts up against them. Though the Blue Boys are attacking them, but they're not seeming to be responding in kind heavily. Whereas the 9th Street are like, it's point for point. Like you send, like it's an escalation going on right now. Like you send they send one of ours to the hospital, we'll send one of them to the morgue kind of thing. Whereas the Turners are very proportional, especially because you're all kind of in the loop when it comes to this. It's over the last couple of weeks, it's like a Blue Boy will kill a Turner and a Turner will kill a Blue Boy, but it's like 1 for 1. They're not escalating. They're not like hitting like, oh, you killed one of ours. Okay, we're going to hit a group of you, like kind of thing. That's what you get so far. That doesn't require check. That's just like newspaper shit, and you recognize that. So those are the bullet points you have. You also did a bullet point where you were checking to see about warehouses along the riverfront to see about if they corresponded to the letter you had from the mayor. And that one wasn't that successful. You just know there's a lot of empty warehouses along the river that could fit. A lot of old factories that are kind of out of use that don't technically have an owner that could theoretically put an operation in there without causing too much trouble. So those are the bullet points you have. You're missing a couple of things that are potential there because I think you have a 13 out of 15, so you don't have all the info, but those are the bullet points you have. You can infer what you want and maybe come to a conclusion ahead of time.
So I think we need to try and find the operation. Like, that's our goal. We need to find a substantial brewery. Because there are pocket breweries probably all over the city. We need something.
Oh, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we need to find that substantial thing. And I think we've narrowed it down to Turner Gang or Turner Gang territory. Like, as our... Because everyone else is scrambling.
Mm-hmm.
So, is it
And,
worth...
the only, like... And we're not going to be turning on the people who hired us. That's kind of a... They wouldn't hire us otherwise. We've put the Donaldsons out because they are clearly...
They also wouldn't open up a new export route as well.
Exactly.
Like, you know, if they have plenty
they have
in
the
situ.
monopoly on the lake. They don't want to... Yeah. They're not going to screw their... And also the Canadian gangs who are like, probably... Their Canadian counterparts and benefactors are probably not going to be too happy if they start screwing them out of their import.
Yeah, they're like, hey, well, we don't want to buy any more off you because our local places are driving us out of businesses. They're going to go, well, what the hell, man?
So,
yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna gather the outfit that evening in my office.
All right, the war room.
He flips the desk over, and it there's like a map. There's a map under the city of everything.
There's a map of Eastern Europe. And
I pull the curtain
with attack corridors. Yeah.
Larence just has flashbacks, just hardcore PTSD all over again.
It's okay, Larence. It's okay. Steiner's assault will fix it all.
Should I put away my
Okay, so yeah, you can you can have a map of the city and like map out where all the gang territory is because it's not contiguous. The thing about people don't understand, gang territory is not a contiguous territory. It's an area of influence around operations, essentially, and so there's a lot of overlap between some of the gangs. The Turners are kind of the hot, like they're separated a lot. They take a lot of they're the high end people, so they get a lot of, like, you know, properties and stuff that are away from a lot of the others, which are kind of more lower to mid end in terms of like their clientele. So are you trying to narrow it down to like a location, or are you trying to work out a plan of action? Like, what's your
Kind of both, I think. Well, I open this up to
Kind
the
of
rest
both?
of the crew, but it's like I think we need to find their major establishment to like nail in the coffin. This is them, and then we can go. Because I think I've got an idea of how we should handle it.
Well, looking at the map here, as Lawrence like looks over it, so we need somewhere that's got easy distribution, has enough space to make a big brewery, bottling, and everything you need. Because obviously they're not having various importers come in with bottles and shipping it out. So we need somewhere that's probably a warehouse, maybe somewhat similar to the size on the docks. We need somewhere that has easy access to roads, all roads, not just a road. And we need somewhere that wouldn't stand out.
Somewhere
Is
where
it
the
worth
other-
following the mayor?
Possibly.
Well, maybe, but even if the mayor is involved, the man is on an election campaign against the sale of alcohol. He is not going to be seen anywhere near the location.
But
He's going to have a Roman.
probably more than one. But to put it out there, though, if he could be linked to it in any way, shape, or form, his re-election goes down the toilet.
Do we want that though? He seems like a reasonable man.
I don't know. I don't pay attention to
Jack.
that here.
How do you
Jackie,
feel
what?
about that?
Well,
Boss, that rubbing the Mademoiselle managed to get for you. That could be slums.
Huh.
You got people going in and out of apartment buildings that have been condemned. Who's going to say anything?
He's got a point.
gotta damn it. As
And you
per
can
your
turn
quick-
all those apartments into different bits of a production process.
You've seen where I live, Roman. That's not a very difficult thing to
There's-
do. The walls are thin.
Also, in reference to the mayor, there's two ways of playing this. Either, once we've informed Baron, we can take this and we say a concerned citizen has come to me about this, and we use this and it looks good because me and him both use this as a takedown and it's good publicity, or we link him to it and then we use it as blackmail so he can then give us good publicity. And he's too good of a rung on the ladder for my own for our own getting up there, that we don't want him gone.
Yes.
We want the foot in the door.
Then we're getting ahead of ourselves here, boss.
Big picture.
We don't even know where the processing center is.
That's goal number one.
And we don't even know if the mayor's actually involved or whether a friend of a friend asked him if it was some buildings not to be knocked down.
Exactly, and that's why Plan A is my down legally using the police force after the Baron's been involved. On the
Well,
down low.
As an idea, put it out into the air here. Myself and Harry could very easily go around the slums of the town, see if we spot anywhere that stands out like that.
Done a lot
while-
of casing.
We have, but we're not. Well, if we figure this out and we nail it down, we don't need to worry about it accidentally backfiring. Because if this
Mhm.
accidentally backfires, oh boy.
Yeah, and everybody now knows you're working for the Alderman.
Yep.
Harry, however, in his non-official capacity, could quite happily do that.
He could. I only suggested myself and Harry because I don't know how fast word spreads about employment around here. I'm not quite used to that yet.
You've been walking in and out of the Alderman's house, word will spread.
So, just to give you all an idea, in terms of slums or areas that are of less or of the lower economic lungs of the city, they consist of places like Snyder, Woodruff, Juniper Walk, kind of part of East Mayfield, Pine Ridge, Williams Point, and that's about it.
You up for this, Harry?
And for reference as well, for like areas of interest in those areas, Woodruff has the Portage Automotive Factory and headquarters, which is the makers of the Model T or Model V in this world. Of the Model V, it's still very well produced, but with the downfall of the Model V and other companies coming in, they have scaled back operations somewhat over the recent years. So that's why it's kind of a slum right now. There's a lot of buildings down there that used to store a lot of parts and cars and things like that have been cleared out. Snyder is home to Small Italia. It's like Little Italy. A lot of Italian immigrants, that kind of stuff. There is like a representative of a lot of Italian mob business. None that are large enough to be a outfit in the city. More like a lot of internal conflict that's imported from the home country, which has kind of kept it down. Williams Point, that's kind of the place where a lot of the people from the Augustus Steelworks live. So it's a lot of the same model home, all painted in oxide red primer. Like there's no like it's as cheap as physically possible for those people to live there, kind of place. And yeah, it kind of by that measure, it has some crime problems. Specifically, Larence, Pine Ridge is where you live. It's a very big immigrant population in Pine Ridge. There's a lot of, the thing is there's less abandoned buildings because it's just a lot of buildings in disrepair, not as well taken care of. But it's necessary for people to live. Like there's actually too many people for the amount of room there is in a lot of these places. A lot of these buildings. Actually, you got somewhat lucky, Larence, is the fact that you are in an apartment on your own. Most of the people in your building have like a family unit living in an apartment. Like,
yeah,
it's very tight knit there. Juniper Walk is the opposite side of the river from the place where the motor company headquarters is in, and it's that one's more like it's an old riverboat dockyard area, but that is moved upriver to the downriver district. I know that's kind of weird, but that's the downriver district. It's moved on to the downriver district where they have much more modern riverboat like facilities, mooring and stuff like that, and it's closer to the old docks and stuff. Like it's to the point where they dredged out the river as it got closer, and they've made it so that it's more usable. So Juniper Walk kind of got left behind. There's still a lot of river boats and things like that for like, but it's not as good. And so there's a lot of actual old like paddle steamers that are just moored and abandoned in that area.
Which of those territories are Turner related?
Let me check. Actually, no. You know what? Give me a mind observation check, because this is, again, you're trying to figure out area of influence around operational points.
Any chance I could substitute mind tactics on that one?
I'll say yes, because you're taking at it from a different angle than Jack, who just rolled. So
All right, so I've got a 4, a 5, and a 5. Can I please do my streetwise.
Let me read that.
Roll D12 and A rolls academics observation to know or recognize the criminal element.
Yes, roll D12 then.
All right, I'll let you do that first. I don't want to break up our rules here.
Oh.
So mind tactics.
That's
mind tactics.
Ooh, tactics. 2 successes.
Okay, so grand total, you got 5 successes.
Yeah.
Between the two of you. Okay. All right. There are a few areas where there are theoretical intersections between a slum area and the area of influence for a Turner gang establishment. That doesn't necessarily... the hard part is that you don't want it to overlap with another gang's area of influence. Because there's a lot of this is also like 9th Street and Blue Boys, which are kind of spread around these areas as well. But definitely, there's nothing in Williams Point because it's too far out. There's no like high value property in there, so the Turners don't have anything. Pine Ridge, same thing. Yeah.
The area around the motor plant or the area around the paddle boats, are they anywhere near Turner territory?
Just getting to that. Actually, yes. Recently, and you know that you all know this, that have had any type of contact with the criminal element. Specifically, Roman knows this. The Turners have a riverboat in the Downriver district that is moored there, and it's what you'd call a gambling boat because of certain laws that exist. Technically, the gambling boat is not under the law that if there's no gambling establishments allowed in the state, but technically a gambling boat is not a building establishment dedicated to gambling because it is mobile. It is a loophole in the law, by the way, that actually exists in
it happens a lot in the South, doesn't it?
St. Louis.
Yeah,
there's a whole lot of gambling boats in St. Louis. It's a loophole in the law, and so they allow it. And the same thing exists in this world. So yeah, there is a gambling boat there that they own. Like it's a front. It's a front. There is no speakeasy on it, but it is a revenue stream for the gang. It's one of those like semi-legitimate like fronts. I mean, it is legitimate. It's technically legal. It's a legitimate front for the gang, and it's near the extreme left edge, like western edge of the Downriver district, which intersects quite a bit with Juniper Walk. So that's pretty close. Technically, you could also say maybe the automotive district, but that's like the south part of the automotive, like Woodruff area, and it doesn't really not as close to the river. So you're talking about like the best intersection between Turner gang and slums / areas where there's not a lot of foot traffic. Best is probably Juniper Walk, with the second best being Woodruff.
All right, so we send Harry. We tell him to take a look around, not draw attention. We're looking for Turner boys in the area, going in and out of a building or boat on the regular.
Any kind of protection services, guards, people who are posted up places, it's gonna be protected.
Not necessarily. If you're trying to keep something on the down low, you're not going to advertise.
No one's going to sit in the window for 3 days, especially in those areas. No one's going to think twice about a fella sitting in a window smoking.
No, and they're also going to spot a person trying to see that person sitting in the window.
Yep. So, it's a hodgepodge of being seeing without being seen, which I think Harry's pretty decent at.
I can help with this.
No, you can't, ma'am.
You've been seen coming to and from here too.
Well, if she goes at night,
If she goes at night. Yeah.
There's one thing you're forgetting.
What's
Who are
that?
the most invisible people in the sea?
Immigrants.
People you never look at twice.
Immigrants.
homeless.
Bingo.
says the rich man.
I've done my time on the streets. Just saying, no one's
Harry?
going to notice someone moving into an alleyway.
Harry? You find this place? There's $10 in it for you.
I just realized that I could have all of these points of interest like on the map.
Yeah.
And I have
Not done that.
I have not done that because I forgot there was an option to make things public. So I'm gonna do that now.
Everyone,
So
everyone, golf claps for Roach. Golf claps.
I'm gonna
all
go
around.
ahead and do that now. Yeah. I'm gonna do that. This also has like information and stuff on some of these places, but nothing's like yeah.
Nice.
Just there's a lot of locations.
Okay. Well, I think, if we can figure that out, if we can figure out a location, after that we can take it to the Baron, and then you can go through legitimate channels once we have 100% confirmed this is where things are happening. We don't want to go to the Baron with misinformation. I don't want to imagine what he might do to whoever he dislikes the most of us.
Who is the Baron?
Best you not ask, ma'am.
You don't want to know.
Very well.
Let's just say he's the smallest, meanest person you never want to cross.
He's the guy who's got the Alderman in his pocket.
He does not have the Alderman in his pocket.
Well, you say what you say.
Okay, all of them are on the map now. There's little pins on the map now that you can
Cool.
open. And they
That's
have
actually a
information.
really cool feature.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
I
I've
don't see the pins yet.
I can't either.
Maybe close and reopen the map.
I think
But either way, I can go into notes and just open the pins open them because they're listed in there.
Yeah. All right.
they should be
cool.
on the map. At least I hope they are.
Oh
Alright.
no! I saw something pop up there and I thought it was it, but no, it was someone's arrow.
No. I know what the pins look like. They're not on our version of the map at the moment.
I'll have to look that up. But all those, yeah, the pins actually are very useful because it tells like it gives you a location. But yeah, you have like information on like the major points now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, except for the old river docks because that's that I have that is information that you can't know. So it's just the name on there right now. So there's a public version of that and a private version. So there's also information there that's like from like ahead in time. I think like the municipal airport catches fire in 1930. So it's like there's bits in there about it. I'll have to re-edit some of these.
All right, so
yeah,
Harry's gonna head down to Juniper Walk and Woodruff. Give things a sight over.
Monsieur O'Shea, is there another Turner Speakeasy? I know they used to run your place.
There's loads of them, mostly in the higher end areas of town, though. They don't really do cheap.
It might be worth seeing what sort of product they are selling at the moment.
It's not a terrible idea. See if they have labels or not, or if they're faking it.
I can be high-end.
Fair.
Oh, there we go. Got pins now.
How about
Yeah.
now?
Oh, there
Does
we
that
go.
work?
Yeah, the pins should,
Yay!
I just read the pins should go green when they're shared with us.
Yeah.
Now
There you go.
Now we've got
Nice.
physical
Nice.
pins
That's
on the
cool.
map.
That's really
Now
cool.
you
I
have
like that.
now you have locations on the map now. That actually.
Nice. That's cool. I like
Didn't
that.
know this was a feature. I am gonna
I
use
didn't know.
this.
Yeah, I didn't know this was a feature. I was like, it would be great if I could share this with my players. Yeah,
Pins, folks.
I could also do this and put like the URLs to Fantasy Grounds things on it for.
you can, yeah, you can do that, yeah.
Nice.
You know, so,
So-
it can also link to maps. I'm pretty sure you can like put maps
Oh,
and you can click them. Yeah.
Nice.
That's the thing.
Right. Well, so
In there, yeah, that's good.
what do you think, Alderman? Do you think yourself and Mademoiselle La Pan should go visit the Turner Speakeasy for an evening?
Just so
I'm
you
not
know,
exactly
the
high-end.
nearest. Just so you know, because the Turner Speakeasies actually are not large in number, because they go for quality over quantity, is what they do. The nearest one to them would be probably in Sapphire Plaza, which is a good distance away, and not like the bottom part of Sapphire Plaza, like near Lions Point, Sapphire Plaza.
What will I learn that extra by going to a speakeasy at this?
Mm.
Other than the fact that I haven't been to a speakeasy as a character, but in a while, my character hasn't been to one, so won't it look out of place that I'm looking now?
Fair.
It could come back due to the fact that his people have been seen around town, and now suddenly he's
Out about.
yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, you got any other ideas, Roman? Anything we could do while we wait for Harry's mission to be done? I did manage to get some sort of an exchange of information with the Donaldson, but he hasn't called us back yet.
I will say, it would not be out of place. Just to give you like context here, it wouldn't necessarily be out of place for Jack to go to the riverboat that the Turners Turners run, like the gambling boat, because it's not illegal, and if as far as I know, Jack is not like against gambling as a
Oh, no,
campaign
he's not.
platform. Yeah, so it wouldn't look out of place. In fact, the gambling boat, like our perception of the gambling boat is like, oh, this is where like people who don't have a lot of money like go to gamble instead of going to Vegas. Back then, though, this was like a high end place to go. Like it was a
Vegas didn't
spectacle.
exist.
No, it didn't exist, but like the gambling establishment, because Jersey City was a gambling establishment forever. Like the gambling boat was the quintessential like, oh, this is a fancy gambling establishment, because it's like, you know, you're on a boat. It's the novelty of it. This is the thing. And it was rich people would go there, so
Hey,
wouldn't be out
Bob,
of place.
why don't you and Mademoiselle Le Pan have a night on with the cards?
I can spend some chips.
Me and Larence go along as keeping the riffraff distant, and Harry goes to work.
Makes sense as well.
Keeps you in the public eye, keeps everyone off balance.
Larence being you were semi-affiliated with the Turners, right?
I worked for
Yeah.
them. They paid my bills.
You could have suggested the fine establishment to me as a place for me to relax.
I might know the guy at the door. I'll be honest.
I like that idea.
Harry,
Yep.
go to work, bud.
All right, go.
Come back with something solid. It's $10 for you.
15.
You find a brewery in one of those buildings big enough that it could be doing this. Fuck it, make it 20.
Even better.
Why are you still here?
I'm already out the door.
As I hear you say 20 to him, I just say in French, "Damn, I got into the wrong business."
It's okay. You'll probably get paid and you'll be in less danger.
Roach,
that.
just sending you some information if you want to utilize it regarding the unit that Harry was with.
Right. By the way, I just wanted to let you know, consider you have something in your inventory that is new that I provided you that relates to your backstory. Just so you know, it is a physical object, so you have it on you. Just, if you want to use it, you can. It's a thing.
Well, apparently I have a date, so I should go change.
I am somehow still the only person here who's been shot at or shot. That's fun.
This isn't a combat.
You were shot at.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Myself
Thank
just
you.
rolling
I-
here, having a great
Thank
time.
you. I don't do that. I am very bad at that kind of thing. So I spent a good week on that.
No, that really works well with the background. It really
Yeah.
works well.
Yeah. None of you may ever see that, but that's the thing. I'm just gonna make this public because this is the gambling boat. It's on the It's a large boat that's moored right next to the dock.
I
or
guess
right
I'd
next to
better
it.
go get my strap. Well, no, I'd have that on me. I'd better go get my nice tie, I suppose.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah,
I'm
you
gonna go get my slum clothes again.
Get the ratty coat on. It's got like a hole in the elbow. Kind of thing. Yeah. You would know the boat it's like with almost a lot of places in town. It's not like you're not supposed to have a gun, but it's an unspoken rule that if a bodyguard having a gun is normal on a gambling boat. Like nobody's gonna look twice, even if you have like a little distension on like a coat jacket or something like that. They're expecting it, so it's not like you have to be super coy about it. Like it's one of those things. Like it's an unspoken rule that like, okay, yeah, this is probably one of the places we like to have like extra muscle like on
Larence
this
is
boat.
sure to he's respectful enough though to try and keep it on the down
Yeah.
low.
As long
Yeah.
as you try, not even just bodyguards, people like, yeah, like even some of the higher class individuals come strapped to this place. It's not because it's one of those places where it's technically legal to have this here. There's always a chance that also like some criminal element might hit a gambling boat, which has happened before. So everybody's like, it's one of those paranoid things. It doesn't happen a lot, but everybody goes like, oh, you're going to a gambling boat, you better have a gun. Who knows? It's like one of those things. So that's not going to be a problem. Nobody searches you. You know that.
Well, everybody knows the rule of thumb is the second bullet starts firing, you do what Larence tells you to do.
Yeah. So
Assuming Roman isn't there, you do what Larence tells you what to do.
yeah,
And of course,
so
I
yeah,
have the best improvised weapon, an umbrella.
probably yes. I thought you were going to say your mind.
I thought you were going to
I
say
have
your
that.
teeth.
Hell
Yeah.
no, umbrella is by far the best improvised weapon.
So, you go ahead and I'm not gonna make we don't need to drag it out. You guys get things ready, prepare for this. So let's do not Lawrence. Let's do Harry's bit because you would go there first. You'd be out there before anybody because you don't have to prep for anything really. You just have to get stuff and then go and be kind of a presence. So which one do you go first, Juniper Walk or Woodruff?
I'm gonna go check out Woodruff.
Okay, so thing about Woodruff, because again, this isn't a place you would normally frequent. It's really low class. It's a working area, so it's not a place that you would normally go to find a mark. That'd be something like a shopping area or a place where people are going. Like a park is a good place, but this area not so much. A lot of the people here don't carry a large amount of cash on them or things on them. There's a lot. But yeah, no. Basically, this is dominated. Like a good half of Woodruff is dominated by the automotive plant that makes cars here. Now they were making for the longest time a Model V, which is like it's a four-wheeled vehicle, very cheap. People made it a lot. But now the big thing everybody makes they make now is the Bicephalus, which is like a big, it's a larger, more fancier like car. It's actually got like an enclosed bit and everything. It's also very new because you can get an option to have automatic windshield wipers. Because if you don't know this, windshield wipers used to be manual. You would manually have to cycle them to clean up. Stuff like that. Also, there's like, and they diversify. There are ones that have like electric starters now and things like that instead of having to crank, like stuff like that. So I mean, not that Harry, I think, cares about cars that much. I don't even think. You wouldn't have driven, I don't think.
No, he was in an infantry battalion.
Yeah, no, even in the army, you wouldn't have been that, because that would have been maybe a horse and buggy.
The closest thing, the closest thing would have been whilst the battalion was in third line duties, he may have offloaded from trucks.
Yeah,
maybe that would be the closest he would have got.
British Army had quite a lot of trucks in World War One. We were one of the armies that did use a lot of trucks actually.
Yeah, but not in frontline service.
Oh god, he was all back. No.
He was in infantry. He was part of an infantry unit.
Yeah, you get on the back of a truck to get from Calais to like.
He would have ridden in a truck. Yeah, he may have ridden in a truck to get to the front line. And as I said, when he's on third line duties, because they rotated out, you didn't spend all years and years and years on the front trench. They did rotate people out.
You weren't the Germans. Where you were assigned where your unit was assigned to that front, and maybe you cycled out eventually, but you stayed there. Which is why their actual trenches were better, because they cared about their trenches a lot more. So German trenches were actually much better quality, which is a thing people don't know. It's a lot of people don't know that. But it's why you don't hear Germans like drowning in their trenches most often, because they had things like actual like drainage built in.
Which the Western armies did eventually get there.
Yeah, but it was a while. You're keeping an eye on it. The thing about this place is like there's a lot of things going on, but not a lot of things that aren't related to this specific business that takes up this is a huge plant. Like when you have in your head like a building, like this is bigger. Like this takes up a large section of Woodruff, of just like multiple city blocks of this automotive plant, which is like interconnected large spaces where there are assembly lines to make these cars and trucks, and then they will roll out, and then they will move over to storage areas. Like some of them open air, some of them just like big garages where they will park them, and then when they need to, they will either drive them or they will load them onto a railroad stop that is dedicated to this area. There is a dedicated railroad stop here where cargo trains will load on, like stuff like that. Like this is all the actions going around there. But you do notice towards the south, you can spend some time there. There is just a lot of empty warehouses that at one point probably were used by the what is the name? I keep forgetting. I want to say Ford, but it's not Ford in this one. It's the Portage company. They've scaled back on-site storage to get things out faster. So there's just a lot of empty warehouses there. So go ahead and give me like a mind observation check, just to like spend some time there to try and see if you spot anything out of the ordinary. And this is less about just being able to find it and more just like how long it's going to take you to like get a good number. Like it's just a lot of space. Okay. You spend a decent amount of time walking around, going between these buildings. Nobody's paying a lot of mind to you. There are actually a few other individuals that look vagrant-y, but that's probably because they're probably like hobos in the full sense of it, because there's a railroad stop, a cargo railroad stop, like in this district. So they're probably coming in on the train and leaving on the train, like as things. So that's what you get a sense of. There's no like homeless encampments here. Or like hobo towns here, which I actually think is the legitimate term for them back in the day. But you spend a lot of time. You're not noticing a lot. There's a couple of people that have actually set up inside of these buildings, but it's not like criminal. Like you look in through like a window, it's like dusted open up, and you can see like there's a couple of tents in there, and maybe like chairs and stuff that are set up. Maybe you see in one of them just a whole lot of bottles around like a crates and chairs in like a semicircle. Nobody's in there, but it looks like you infer there might be like some gathering of workers that come here and maybe, just they don't have to go to speakeasy. It's cheap. Somebody provides maybe a homemade beer, and it's just they just have a time here. Is what you're getting, and that's kind of that's the most illegal thing you find in spending time looking around. Nothing jumps out at you as an operation here. And just let me check. You are noticed, but not by any police outfit. You are given like a side eye by a train conductor who is like on the tracks. He's expecting his train. He just sees you like opposite side of like two fences. He like takes a moment to like look at you, and he immediately assumes you're a hobo, and he's keeping an eye on you because like most hobos would do, they'd make a run for a train as it was leaving, and he's about ready to go, and he's trying to keep an eye on you to make sure you don't get on. That's the biggest thing, since you're not really trying to be stealthy about it. It's just that's the biggest amount of pushback you get from authorities, just a side eye from somebody who is managing a train. And funny enough, hold on. While he's looking at you, you see a hobo get onto a train, get onto a cargo trailer or a car, and just sneaks on.
Just whilst he was distracted with the not hobo.
Yeah, he gets on. That's about what you get for, I'll say, half of the daylight left in the day you spend there. And then you head off to Juniper Walk, because that's your other option. That's your other target. While that's going on, the rest of the party.
Do you want to save this for next week?
Yeah,
I was just checking the time. I just looked at the time before we get into that. Yes, we will begin the casino adventure next episode.
Okay. Well, I hope you've all enjoyed this week's episode of Tricogha Nights. We will be back, as we said, next week. Same time here on the Component Cast. As always, thank you to Sar Roach for writing and DMing this campaign. It was
rough today.
It wouldn't be, it's still fantastic as always, though. And it has been a month, so well done after that. And then also thank you to the rest of our cast, our stunning cast at that. Thank you to Surelyonlymikey, UtariOnzo. You can find them at their Twitch channels by those handles or in the links in our panels or description. And then we also have the wonderful duo that is RivalZoneGaming and Red Moogle, and the brilliant pair that they are from RivalZoneGaming. I am Midgeman. All of our links, as I said, are in the panels, descriptions, and I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.